WXFM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Texas Republicans going with the president's pick in the Senate race and saying no to the incumbent John Cornyn. Winning in the runoff race for the nomination, Attorney General Ken Paxton.
When everyone in Washington told him to abandon me and abandon the people of Texas, he didn't listen. Instead, he gave his complete and total endorsement. President Trump is the leader of our party, and his endorsement in this is the most powerful force in politics.
Paxton has had the share of scandals, including being impeached on misconduct and fraud charges. He was acquitted. His wife is also divorcing him on biblical grounds. Search teams in Laos have found 5 of the villagers who were trapped for more than a week in a cave flooded by rain. 2 more villagers are still missing. Also missing 9 people who were working at a paper plant in southern Washington state when a tank holding dangerous chemicals ruptured. At least 1 person was killed and at least 9 were seriously hurt. This is ABC News. NASA wants to build a $10 billion base on the moon so astronauts can learn what it takes to go to Mars. New York State wants to build new facilities in Lake Placid so athletes can compete in an upcoming Winter Olympic Games.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul says she wants to bring the Winter Olympics back to the Empire State. The idea would team up New York City with Lake Placid for a future bid, possibly for the 2042 Games. Hochul told The Athletic that she had significant meetings regarding bringing the Winter Olympics back to the state. Lake Placid already has Olympic history. It hosted the 1932 and 1980 Winter Games, including the famous Miracle on Ice when the United States hockey team shocked the Soviet Union. Dave Packer, ABC News, New York.
Amid scorching temperatures of nearly 118 degrees, Muslim pilgrims have been performing the symbolic stoning of the devil taking place during this year's Hajj in Saudi Arabia. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
We have cloudy skies, a little bit of rain in the region as well. It's 67 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. And in the news this morning, if activists get their way and more money would be allocated towards North City, would Mayor Kara Spencer veto the bill allocating the Rams Settlement Fund?
No less than $150 million of the Rams Settlement Fund going to North City so that we can see it full.
It's not enough. We all know it, but we need to try to make the North Side whole.
$150 million of the Rams settlement should go to North St. Louis at minimum.
Mayor Kara Spencer said she wants to see how the process plays out, but would not rule out signing a bill that included $150 million for North St. Louis instead of the currently proposed $110 million. Spencer adds compromise is why she believes this latest version will pass the full Board of Aldermen.
We all recognize that we can't fill all of the $700 million of needs of the water department, and we can't fill the $2 billion hole that the tornado carved, let alone the decades of disinvestment on either side of the tornado in North St. Louis.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Also in the news today.
I want to be clear. These drones are specifically designed for first responders and situational awareness.
That is St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy releasing a video about the department's intention to have an aerial response unit.
The aerial response unit will have 6 Brink drones with funding by the St. Louis Police Foundation and its donors.
We'll always safeguard the civil liberties of our residents, and these Brink drones will not be equipped with any type of weaponry. This is about faster response times, smarter public safety, and a stronger regional collaboration.
Tracy says this allows SLMPD to invest in a smarter, faster, and more coordinated public safety mission for the city. The aerial response unit still requires the approval of the police board. Lori Aquina, KMOX News.
Police are cracking down on street takeovers in the city. Detectives broke one up near 9th and Branch on Sunday, arresting 2 people. A 20-year-old woman from Forestel was charged with stunt driving and child endangerment after she was caught doing stunts in a white Lexus with her 3-year-old child in the back seat. A 32-year-old man from Columbia, Missouri was also arrested after police say he took part in the takeover and also tried to block detectives before running off. Both face stunt driving charges.
A 70-year-old man has been charged in a decades-old Granite City murder.
34-year-old Randy Gale Sprina was last seen entering Albert Buddy Ziegler's truck in Granite City in November of 1993. The Madison County State's Attorney said she was later bludgeoned to death and her body was left in a field. Ziegler was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder on Tuesday following a DNA match that took 26 years. The breakthrough came last May when researchers at a Texas lab traced the DNA to the Midwest. The lab is the same one that solved another decades-old Jane Doe case in Illinois last year. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Many of Missouri's small businesses are reporting financial stress, according to a pair of surveys. Brad Jones of the National Federation of Independent Business Missouri office says inflation pressure is forcing many businesses to get creative.
I'm going to do what I'm doing, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money right now, or even, hire those 2 or 3 people that I really, really need. But maybe we'll just see here in the next few months how things are going to go.
The NFIB surveys look at multiple economic trends, including employment, sales, and expenses. Jones say their latest numbers show a dip in the optimism index.
A proposal from some Missouri lawmakers to suspend the state's gas tax is still in the early stages, with MoDOT's leader saying it's too soon to weigh in. MoDOT Director Ed Hassinger says drivers can already take steps to save on fuel costs.
Drive the speed limit. If you drive the speed limit, you'll save gas. I think that's probably the best advice.
Missouri House members are calling for a pause on the state's 29.5-cent gas tax through the end of the year. The plan is expected to cost about $713 million, with general revenue covering the gap for MoDOT, cities, and counties.
I'm Michael Calhoun. The same question is on the table next door in Illinois. Governor J.B. Pritzker is not committing to suspending his state's gas tax, but he says Illinois has already taken steps to ease the pain at the pump.
I authorized E15 as an additive in our state. That's something that really hadn't ever been done before. It lowers the cost of gasoline by about 15 cents a gallon.
Pritzker also points to an earlier move of his to freeze an automatic increase in the gas tax. He says a full suspension is possible and something he'll decide on in the coming week, though he warns the revenue from the pump goes to fund road and bridge work across the state.
A feel-good story out of the St. Louis County Council. Members unanimously honored Miranda Gibson, a county library leader, just named a national mover and shaker by the Library Journal. Gibson helped build the Tap-In Center, which helps people resolve old bench warrants safely and for free. Councilwoman Lisa Clancy, who sponsored the tribute, had a little fun presenting it.
The article that highlighted you in the Library Journal said that you never thought you would see yourself working in the library world. And I bet you never thought you'd receive a resolution from the St. Louis County Council either.
The program has helped resolve more than 9,000 missed court date warrants since 2020, including over 2,450 this year.
From the KMOX Business Desk, downtown St. Louis will get a new market and speakeasy this summer. Dorsa Market is set to open at 1007 Washington Avenue in July. It will have a small pet business, a florist section, in addition to the main produce, wine, and local goods area. It will also offer hand-tossed pizzas.
And on Fridays and Saturdays, visitors will be able to access a speakeasy named At the Moment behind an ATM in the building. According to the Business Journal, Dorsa's is owned by Corey James, the owner of Bella's Coffee Cafe and Buddy's Wine Bar and Bistro, both located on Washington Avenue.
It is 6:08. When we return, we'll check the roadways and the weather. It looks a little drizzly right now in downtown St. Louis. Stay with us here on 104.1 FM KMOX.
The reason many of us hate insurance companies is because some of them act like bullies. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I've been dealing with these creatures my whole career. Whether it's a workers' comp claim, an auto accident, or a nursing home or medical mishap, the playbook is often the same: deny and delay. We became the largest injury firm in America for a reason. We fight the bullies. They know who we are, and I know it makes a difference for our clients. Just go to forthepeople.com and see our results and our verdicts after those bullies gave us their final offer. Hiring the wrong firm can be disastrous. Hiring the right firm could substantially increase your settlement. It's easy to get going. Visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer, or call us on your cell at #law, #529. Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm. forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's see how the roads look this morning. Roger Brand, Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, great, with the exception of a couple little backups, Tom. The westbound 70 backup keeps getting better, but there's still a short jam up. I'll just call it west of Z into Wentzville Parkway, and then it's wide open. It doesn't go all the way to David Hochul Parkway any longer. All that road work obviously has been picked up, so we're seeing improvements there, but starting to see a little bit of a backup on northbound 270 right at 64. It goes about up to Ladue into that construction zone. There was a semi that pulled off into the work zone, it looked like, so maybe that was the reason. I just see traffic coming to a standstill, at least in that left lane. North 270 as you approach 64, so a little bit of a jam up there. But you look good down south, 55 coming up through 141 to the Merrimack, and that work zone's fine. And on the Illinois side, 64 westbound through 159 in Fairview Heights. I'm not seeing any delays at this time either. Next update at 6:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
Today will be warm and humid with clouds and some sunshine. There can be a passing shower, maybe even a spotty afternoon or evening thunderstorm. Much of the day will be rain-free, the high 84. Overnight, partly cloudy, though 65. Clouds and some sunshine and very warm tomorrow, high 87. For Friday, partly sunny, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
We do have some rain, light rain, I'd say drizzly in downtown St. Louis, 67 degrees.
The FBI says a recent crackdown on at-large fugitives in St. Louis is a sign of a long-term commitment.
Operation Viper was a surge in federal agents in St. Louis for the final 2 weeks of April that the FBI says resulted in 91 arrests and 36 guns seized. Former Missouri Attorney General, now Deputy FBI Director Andrew Bailey, says the quick results are due to collaboration from all levels of law enforcement.
It's not just the FBI, the brave men and women serving in the Bureau acting alone. It's with our federal, state, and local counterparts. And so we take intelligence that they've gathered and recommendations, and we all work together. And when we embedded with SLMPD, we really maximized our efforts.
Bailey says the intention of having this surge now was to head off the usual rise in violent crime that comes in the summer months. Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis County voters will decide this summer whether to change the county charter. The measure would do two things: line the county's charter up with the state constitution as far as when officials are sworn in, and change the rules for setting officials' pay. This grew out of a failed attempt earlier this year to raise salaries for the county executive and assessor.
Councilwoman Gretchen Bangert, who sponsored the bill, defended paying the county's top officials more.
I don't think it's going to make a difference between $50,000 or $100,000 if somebody's going to take on the burden of running for public office.
Bangert says the aligning the charter with the state constitution should also clear up the timing problems that sank the earlier salary effort. The proposition goes before voters August 4th.
The strike against Missouri's largest alcohol distributor is spreading.
Teamsters at Breakthrough Beverage are extending their picket lines beyond St. Louis to facilities in Kansas City and Champaign, Illinois. Workers at the new locations are honoring the picket lines and refusing to cross them. The company distributes brands like Jameson, Absolute, and Yuengling to bars and stores. Union leader Jeff Pedalero tells KMOX the dispute is over what he calls the company's illegal labor practices.
Breakthrough Beverage is learning the hard way that the Teamsters mean business, and will continue to do what we need to do to protect our members.
A Breakthrough Beverage spokesperson tells KMOX that the company is engaged in ongoing good faith negotiations, including first contract discussions with our drivers. And they say Teamsters Local 688 ended negotiations with key issues unresolved, but they confirmed that negotiations will resume on June 3rd. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Redbird Report Report sponsored by Restoration One of Greater St. Louis. Let's start our coverage with KMOX's Matt Pauley.
As the Cardinals are trailing the Brewers 6-0 in the 8th inning, Milwaukee pitcher Abner Uribe strikes out Alec Burleson to end the inning. He then looks to the Cardinals dugout and performs a number of crotch chops. His manager, Pat Murphy, is not happy with the antics.
Yeah, it's just unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things, and I was embarrassed by it.
Through a translator, Uribe apologizes to Murphy, his teammates, and the Brewers organization, but not to the Cardinals.
I understand that that's unacceptable to go out there and to react in a way like that. But at the same time, I don't think it's professional for their manager to be making signs towards our dugout saying that he's going to be hitting guys. And there was an event that occurred during the practice today, too. And I don't think that was right. So, I have my teammates back.
Uribe refuses further comment, and the Cardinals have denied the allegations. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
And lastly, Uribe's antics. Any comment on that?
No, I mean, it looked like their team and Murph was handling it on their side. That's their player. Will handle ours, but it seemed like they were taking care of it.
Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol talking to our broadcast team, Chip Carey on Cardinals TV, about the situation from his perspective. Cardinals lost the game. They've lost the last two, and they will be taking on the Brewers today. We'll have the day game for you on KMOX. It starts at 12:40. I'll have pregame at 11:45 as the Cardinals fall 6-0 to the Brewers. But even though they've dropped 3 straight now, including the first 2 to Milwaukee, the Cardinals still own second place in the National League Central. That's because the Cubs have tumbled all the way to last. The Cubs have lost 10 in a row. They fell yesterday. They got absolutely obliterated by the Pirates. Final score was 12-1. So right now in the division, it looks like this. The Brewers have the lead. The Cardinals are 3.5 back, Reds 4 back, Pirates 4.5, and the Cubs also 4.5. The Cardinals play in Milwaukee today. They'll have the day off tomorrow, and then they open a 3-game series at home against the Cubs starting this weekend at Busch Stadium. As for the Stanley Cup playoffs, the Vegas Golden Knights swept the Colorado Avalanche. The number 1 seed in the West is gone. Vegas beat them 2-1 last night. They scored a goal in the opening period, added a late tally, and won this contest 2-1. Gabriel Landeskog had the game winner at 17:57 of the third period, and the Golden Knights, coached by John Tortorella on an interim basis, have taken over the talk of the Stanley Cup playoffs. They win it. They're the first team in. They'll play the winners of Carolina and Montreal. The Canadiens host the Hurricanes tonight at 7, with Carolina up 2-1 in that series. It's a 3-2 series in the NBA's Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City beat San Antonio last night, 127-114. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the way with 32 points for the Thunder, and the defending NBA champions are a win away from returning to the NBA Finals, where they would take on the New York Knicks. The West will host games 1 and 2 of the NBA Finals, with game 3 at Madison Square Garden. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
When it comes to your hearing, you deserve expert care. At the Audiology Center, you're treated by certified audiologists Dr. Colleen Bosler, Dr. Adam Foss, and Dr. Bailey Campbell, meaning 8 years of advanced education, clinical expertise, and a commitment to best practices.
Charlie, we offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so you get what's best for you. Every patient receives individualized testing, precise fittings using real ear measurements, and personalized programming to ensure your hearing aids perform exactly as they should. And our care doesn't stop once you leave the office. We're committed to helping your hearing aids last through ongoing adjustments, maintenance, and long-term support at no extra cost. Better hearing is personal, not one size fits all. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com. And let's take that first step together.
If your ride's out of warranty and something big breaks, it could cost you thousands. Ludacris here. Let me put you on to the auto protection I trust, Endurance. With Endurance, you could never have to pay out of pocket for covered car repairs again. I'm talking about the pricey stuff: drivetrain, transmission, electrical, AC, plus lots more. You pick the certified mechanic and Endurance pays them directly. No middlemen, no runaround. If your car is under 20 years old, you're covered with unlimited miles. Plus added benefits like 24/7 roadside assistance and towing. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Listen, saving money is the same as making money. So who's going to cover your next breakdown? You or Endurance? Right now, pick the plan that's right for you and get a full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee.
For your fast free quote, call 800-295-0763. 800-295-0763. 800-295-0763.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
Debbie Monterrey, Megan Lynch, Tom Ackerman. Total Information AM on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
6:20 and time for an update on the roadways and the weather. Roger Brand starts us off in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, on the traffic front, we just have delays building on northbound 270, Debbie. It's backed up just north of the Clayton Road overpass. We have an incident up closer to Ladue on northbound 270 that had a lane blocked, I believe, and that's why there's a jam building through that area. I couldn't see it initially. It was that tractor trailer that had moved into the work zone, and I still don't see where this is. But again, it is jammed there on northbound 270 right now. And then there's just a little bit of a backup westbound 70 coming through Wentzville Parkway. It's west of Z, right about the railroad overpass at the S-Bend there to Wentzville Parkway, bumper to bumper, and then it's opening up. There's more volume down south, but still just a slowdown right now. Northbound 55 approaching 141 to the Merrimack. After that, you're good to go. We still look good on the Illinois side, 64 westbound coming through 159. It's okay, and it still looks good headed across the Mutual Veterans and Poplar Bridges downtown. Next update at 6:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg says clouds and some sun today, warm and humid with a shower in places, even a spotty thunderstorm, high of 84. Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening, otherwise partly cloudy, low 65. Tomorrow, clouds, some sun, and very warm. We're going to get a high of 87 degrees. And Friday, sun and clouds, a thunderstorm in spots, a high of 82. Currently, we have a cloudy sky, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch.
The news continues on Total Information AM. Pope Leo's first encyclical, just out on Monday, addresses the arrival of artificial intelligence, both the pros and the cons. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer got some insight on the papal message from St. Louis Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky.
What Pope Leo is telling us in this encyclical, Magnificent Humanity, is that we're really at a crossroads in our history. And that is, artificial intelligence has the capacity to do great good for humanity, or it has the capacity to detract from our humanity, to be an affront to the dignity of what our humanity is. Pope Leo uses the gospel message of Jesus, who came to redeem our humanity because we are created in God's image. Artificial intelligence does have the possibility of taking away from what our humanity really is. So I think that is the central message of the new encyclical, Magnificent Humanity. The Holy Father wants us to really reflect. How do we use this technology? How do we use it for the betterment of everyone? Or could it be used to detract and just be put in the hands of a few?
What are some of his concerns?
First of all, I think one of the concerns that he mentions in this encyclical is that artificial intelligence can string together words. It can give us images and all, but artificial intelligence does not have the capacity to feel, to empathize, doesn't have the capacity to reflect as we human beings do. It doesn't have the capacity to make moral judgments because there's no means for it to do so. Human beings make moral judgments. So Pope Leo is saying, look at the depth of our humanity, how we are created in God's image, and look at what artificial intelligence can do to help us, but also use the wrong way, it can detract from who we are.
Does Pope Leo offer any solutions to either government leaders or corporations or even to Catholics?
I don't think that the encyclical was written with the idea of providing solutions. I think the encyclical is written with the idea of giving us material to reflect, so that when we make decisions regarding artificial intelligence, whether it be the government or individual companies or individuals, that they would not use artificial intelligence for ways that would take away our humanity.
So what's your message to the Catholic flock here in St. Louis about this papal encyclical?
Pope Leo has given us this encyclical at a time when we really need it. In the turn of the 19th century, Pope Leo XIII wrote Rerum Novarum in response to the Industrial Revolution. Pope Leo XIV realizes that he has been elected at the technological revolution. So just because we can do things, or we have the ability, should we do so without first reflecting on what we're doing? And that's the message that I get from Magnificent Humanity.
Another part of the papal encyclical, Pope Leo actually apologizes for the role that the Holy See played in legitimizing slavery and for having failed to condemn it for centuries. Tell us about that.
Pope Leo wanted to include the issue of slavery in the encyclical because he wanted to show that the church realized that it was a wrong, it was a sin. And the church took a while to condemn slavery. But in reflecting upon how slavery took away from the humanity of so many individuals, Pope Leo does not want technology to take away our humanity. So the church, yes, was slow in condemning slavery. Pope Leo does not want to make that same mistake in being able to assess technology and artificial intelligence.
That is the St. Louis Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky speaking with our own Fred Bottomer.
It's 6:27. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Gamma Tree Experts was looking around our yard over the Memorial Day weekend and trying to identify as many trees as I could. Tim Gamma taught me how to do it. And trying to identify which trees might need some work in the future. I'm an amateur. Tim Gamma is an expert. Tim and Tom Gamma, they are the best. Gamma Tree Experts, a tree service that has provided high-quality tree and shrub care since 1954. In fact, their entire team can help you. They are outstanding in what they do. They're arborist team. Arborists are passionate about trees, and they understand how much your trees mean to you. The Gamma staff includes board-certified master arborists, horticulturists, urban foresters. Your trees are living assets that need ongoing care to thrive. And at Gamma Tree Experts, they are committed, they are knowledgeable, they are professionals who can help you protect your trees for today and for future generations. They've been doing it since 1954, going back generations. They are Gamma Tree Experts. GammaTree.com. Your trees deserve the best care.
One of life's greatest mysteries has finally been solved.
Who let the dogs out? Spruce, spruce, spruce.
It's spruce, the weed and grass killer that's safe for use around people, pets, and bees when used as directed. Spray the leaves for visible results in just 1 hour and dead weeds in just 1 day. You spray, they play. Spruce, pet friendly, weed deadly. Find wherever weed killers are sold.
You just testified under oath you're getting more fiber in your diet, and it was easy. Where is this additional fiber coming from?
Mira Fiber Gummies.
Objection.
It's true. Mira Fiber has 8 grams of fiber to help me get the fiber I need in a day, plus 4 B vitamins for metabolism support, all in one serving.
Overruled.
My gut rests its case.
Oh, that's my line.
Find Mirafiber today at your local retailer from the makers of Miralax. Mirafiber supports metabolism of carbs, fats, and proteins. Serving size is 4 gummies.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertisement.
It is 6:30, and right now it is cloudy and a little drizzly, 67 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Let's see how the roads are looking. And here's Roger Brand with that Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got those couple of jams, Tom. The initial one we had out west on 70 westbound is still backed up from Highway Z through Wentzville Parkway. We had overnight road work west of there. They may still be picking some of it up. It looks to me like we have an incident, though, at Wentzville Parkway now on westbound 70. I can't tell if it's a stall or a crash. My view, it's just past the overpass there, it appears. And I can't tell what it is. I can see it's either in the left lane or on the left shoulder. I see the flashing lights of the police cars. So, again, it was either a stall or a minor crash. Been talking about northbound 270 right at Ladue as you get through that work zone there. So again, it's either blocked in the left lane or been cleared to the left shoulder. But the jam's building. Everybody now is bumper to bumper back at Manchester Road. Other than that, you have slow traffic northbound 55 north of Richardson up to the Merrimack River in that construction zone. Still okay on the Illinois side, 64 westbound through Fairview Heights, no delays, and the bridges are still clear downtown for Illinois drivers. Next update at 6:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
It is going to be a warm and humid day with a shower in places, maybe a spotty thunderstorm. Otherwise, just clouds and sun and a high of 84. Tomorrow getting up to 87 with clouds and sun. That's the hottest day of this 5-day forecast. It's 67 out there right now.
Missouri's small businesses are struggling a bit, according to recent studies by the National Federation of Independent Business.
The NFIB State Director, Brad Jones, says many Missouri small business owners have ongoing struggles finding qualified new employees.
They're frustrated with the labor and employment part.
He says there are increased business costs and the dilemma of passing those on to customers. Jones says their latest surveys in Missouri find businesses are delaying big purchases. He says some are also putting off expansion plans. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
$150 million for tornado recovery in St. Louis. That should be obvious.
Take that $55 million from downtown development. It can wait. We don't need sidewalk cafes and restaurants and exciting events.
$150 million is a start.
Those are activists urging city leaders to allocate more money to the north side than the $110 million from the Rams settlement. Mayor Kara Spencer asked if she would still sign a bill that took the $40 million difference from other funds and put it towards North City. She didn't say no.
I'm not ruling anything out at this point. What I'd like to see is this bill move forward.
No vote was taken on the bill in committee.
St. Louis Police will launch the Aerial Response Unit. Chief Robert Tracy released a video saying they're making a major investment in public safety.
And one of the most significant technological advancements in the department's history.
Thanks to our friends at the St. Louis Police Foundation, we have plans to launch the Aerial Response Unit, utilizing 6 Brink drones, strategically placed throughout the city that will enhance public safety and support a broader regional collaboration.
Now, the Aerial Response Unit still needs approval of the police board. Tracy says this proposal is a part of a growing regional effort among public safety agencies to utilize drone technology to improve emergency response, strengthen coordination, and enhance preparedness across the St. Louis region. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. It's 6:34.
It's not really a sports show. It's just a show.
So I don't really have a sports show, but I love the Cardinals. I am born and bred St. Louis, went to my first game like so many of you, 4 years old. Couldn't believe how green it was standing there next to the players with my dad. And now I go with my kids. You get it. So when you listen to the DGS, it's going to be a slice of life happy hour, but we're always going to talk Cardinals.
The Dave Glover Show at 1. Then stick around for Cardinals baseball.
Retirement. Exciting in one way, scary in others. How do you find the financial advisor that covers all the bases? Join Greg Ayler Saturdays at 1 on Fire Your Financial Advisor.
Chuck McDowell here with Red Pocket Mobile. How long have you been stuck with the same phone plan? 2 years? 5? 10? Are you tired of surprise fees and confusing bills that never match what you thought you were paying? Cut the nonsense.
Right now at redpocket.com, new and existing customers adding a line can get our premium 5G plan for just $5 a month. That's only $60 a year.
And here's the kicker. Red Pocket Mobile gives you access to all 3 5G networks. You pick the one that works best where you live or work, or switch anytime for better coverage. And with Red Pocket, you keep your phone and your number. Why in the world would you not switch? Red Pocket Mobile, your new ultimate cell carrier.
Celebrate Memorial Day with big savings from Red Pocket Mobile. Right now, new and existing customers can get our premium 5G plan for just $5 a month. Just $60 a year, and choose from all 3 major 5G networks with one locked-in low price at redpocket.com. That's redpocket.com. redpocket.com.
It's 6:35. Your Money Minute is sponsored by Eamon Gander and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys.
This is the Bloomberg Money Minute. The former chairman of BP says he was fired without warning or explanation and will challenge the energy giant's version of events. Albert Manifold was ousted from BP yesterday after 8 months on the job, citing serious concerns about governance standards, oversight, and conduct. Sources say there have been complaints about aggressive behavior by Manifold toward employees. Meantime, shares in rocket and satellite companies soared yesterday. They've been on the move since SpaceX filed last week for what could be the largest ever initial public offering. That helped the S&P 500 jump 0.6% to finish the day. This morning, stocks are looking at more gains. S&P futures are up 21 points. Dow futures rising 195. And speaking of SpaceX, American Airlines plans to install the company's Starlink satellite internet service across more than 500 of its jets. Airlines have been increasingly turning to Starlink to improve spotty service. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It is 6:36.
Wait, everything on this IHOP value menu is just $6?
I told you it was amazing. A huge plate of pancakes, bacon, and eggs is just $6.
Wow.
There's also French toast, a ham and cheese omelet, and oh, they got a BLT and fries now.
Okay, we're coming here every day.
You don't have to tell me twice.
Feast for just $6 with the IHOP value menu. $7 in some locations, available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Summer means longer days and more deals at Lowe's. This Memorial Day, shop Miracle-Gro 0.75 cubic foot garden soil, 5 bags for $10. Plus, get select 1.5-gallon red, white, and blue annuals hanging baskets, 2 for $15 to show off your favorite plants. Stop traffic with stunning landscaping and save while you do it. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27, excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Selection varies by location while supplies last.
There is always a way that you can help. And one of the ways that you can help is helping the Humane Society of Missouri. They do such great work. You know, I often see their posts on social media and they just make me cry because the Animal Cruelty Task Force is out there, not just in the St. Louis area, but all over the state of Missouri, rescuing dogs, cats, birds, farm animals, and bringing them back to one of the 2 Humane Society locations here in the St. Louis region, the one in the city on Mackland and in Maryland Heights. Plus, they've got the farm out in Union, Missouri, which if you've never been, it is definitely worth a visit. But it's good to know that the people who do it also take their jobs very seriously. I've had the honor of meeting members of the Animal Cruelty Task Force, and they love reuniting with the animals that they've rescued and knowing that they are now in happy forever homes being taken care of. But it's a mission that costs money, and the Humane Society of Missouri doesn't get any tax dollars. They survive on donations from animal lovers like you and me. They have all kinds of ways throughout the year that you can help with all kinds of great events. The next big one is coming up this June 18th. It's Purses for Pooches. Also Wagon Days on June 20th. I'll keep you posted on more events, but you can always go to hsmo.org and help the dogs, cats, and animals at the Humane Society of Missouri.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit lombardohomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
Today, the Cards, the Brewers. Ameren Total Access 1145. First pitch 1240. Cardinals Radio. 1041 FM KMOX.
Well, it should be interesting today. Brewers pitcher apologized for his antics, but did not apologize to the Cardinals. We'll explain coming up at 6:45. Right now, here's Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Tom, we still have a little bit of a jam on westbound 70 from 61 out through Highway Z. It's opening up just west of there. Was a crash. I could see them clearing it. They had all lanes temporarily blocked at Wentzville Parkway, but then they got it out of there. So everything's getting back to normal. Still just that little bit of a backup. And southbound 61 is slow. Wentzville Parkway down to 64 in that area as well. North 270, you've got delays. Slow at Doherty Ferry, jamming before you get to Manchester all the way up into Ladue. We had an incident that was in the left lane there. I believe they moved it to the left shoulder. Also starting to see a backup now. Northbound 55, just north of Richardson, bumper to bumper, most of the way to 141. And then from there, slow up to the Merrimack River Bridge. And there's just a hint of a slowdown now. Starting to see low volume westbound 64, midway from 50 into 159 into that construction zone. Once you get past that point, though, you're clear across the Poplar or Muso Veterans Bridges downtown. Next update at 6:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
641. Let's check in right now with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Looking out the windows right now, and I can't tell if it's still raining, but it was a little earlier, Joe.
It looks just kind of damp is about the best way to phrase it. Cloudy right now, and those clouds will gradually break for some sun. Most of the showers have dissipated around the area, and the thunderstorm that we were looking at an hour ago is now a little farther to the east and moving farther away. So in between, we'll see clouds and sun. It'll feel warm and humid today. We'll get to about 84. There is a risk for another shower, maybe even a pop-up thunderstorm this afternoon and this evening, but a good bit of the day is still going to end up being rain-free. Our high gets to 84. Later tonight, partly cloudy, mid-60s, some sunshine tomorrow, a very warm day, the high 87, probably the warmest day going forward. Not quite that warm on Friday with sun and clouds. There could be a stray afternoon thunderstorm again. I think most of the day is dry, the high 82. And the weekend looking pretty decent. Clouds and some sunshine up to 82 Saturday, upper 70s to near 80 on Sunday. Right now, we've got 70 degrees in St. Peter's at 71 in Florissant, cloudy 71 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you very much. We have sports coming up in 2 minutes. NASA has revealed its plans for creating a base for astronauts on the moon. It's expected to play a critical role in the space race between the U.S. and China. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This $20 billion moon base project will unfold in 3 phases. The first, kicking off this year. NASA will use drones and rovers to scout the best sites near the moon's south pole before construction begins in 2029. During that first phase, NASA plans to land on the moon nearly 24 times. And by 2032, it plans to send the first astronauts to live and work on the lunar surface.
President Trump making his 3rd trip to Walter Reed Medical Center in 13 months. We get more from ABC News political correspondent Rachel Scott.
President Trump leaving Walter Reed Medical Center after a 3-hour visit, his 3rd in the last 13 months, declaring himself in good health. The White House says he underwent routine annual dental and medical assessments as part of his regular preventative health care. President Trump, who will turn 80 in June, writing on social media, everything checked out perfectly. But tonight, no further details from the president's doctor.
In New Jersey, tensions remain high outside Delaney Hall, a federal immigration facility in Newark, where Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed yesterday by federal agents. ABC's Phil Tate outside the facility with the latest.
About a dozen federal agents just outside of the detention center. There's a fleet of vehicles and a few protesters who are in the street. Just moments ago, a vehicle tried to make their way inside. Some folks even sitting on the sidewalk. They were trying to block that vehicle from getting inside. But this all follows what happened here just last night. Protesters clashed with federal immigration officers yet again, ending with 3 arrests.
Tennessee federal public defenders called on the governor to put a pause on all executions in the state of Tennessee after a lethal injection was called off last week. This past Thursday, the state attempted to execute Tony Carruthers, who was convicted of kidnapping and murdering 3 people in 1994, but staff tried and failed for more than an hour to establish an intravenous line. Speaking in Nashville on Tuesday, Kit Thomas, deputy chief of the Capitol Habeas Unit, said botched lethal injections are an ongoing problem.
Difficulty establishing IV lines is not a hypothetical problem in executions. It's a known complication that has caused prolonged and botched executions across this country for years.
Who's Hot, Who's Not, sponsored by St. Louis Composting, Growing Gardens, and Making Memories. Last night in Milwaukee, the Cardinals trailed 6-0 in the 8th inning when Abner Uribe struck out Alec Burleson. It happens. Cardinals just didn't have it, but Uribe celebrated in a way that got everyone's attention. A triple crotch chop. It's the only way you can describe it, actually. Like I don't know how you would describe it, like a pro wrestler or something. He was out there celebrating out on the pitcher's mound and looking at the Cardinals dugout while he was doing it. Apparently, he was upset about something that he claims he saw that the Cardinals were throwing inside or intending to throw inside. The Cardinals vehemently deny that. Brewers manager Pat Murphy addressed Uribe immediately as he came off the field, called it unacceptable. Here is Uribe with his apology, although as you can hear here, he doesn't apologize to the Cardinals through a translator.
Yeah, I think first and foremost, everyone here knows me and knows who I am and knows I have a bit of a history of being emotional out there. But again, I think first I owe an apology to the Brewers. I owe an apology to my teammates, to my manager, all the bosses of the team. I understand that that's unacceptable to go out there and to react in a way like that. But at the same time, I don't think it's professional for their manager to be making signs towards our dugout saying that he's going to be hitting guys. And there was an event that occurred during the practice today too, and I don't think that was right. So I have my teammates back always.
Ivan Herrera of the Cardinals said, "I feel like it was just disrespectful to the entire team what he did. I hope we take care of it and we move on." The Cardinals play today at 12:40, pregame at 11:45. Sounds like a must-listen game as the Cardinals try to avoid a sweep. And that's the most important thing really here, Matt Pauley. The Cardinals got to figure out how to get some offense going.
With a 6-0 loss yesterday to the Brewers, the Cardinals have lost 3 in a row and 5 of their last 6. They have scored 1 total run in their last 2 games against Milwaukee and have been held to 2 runs or less in 4 of their last 6 games. Manager Oliver Marmol says the way out of the funk is individual players getting better.
Each guy's you get to learn something different. Not everyone's in the same boat. Some guys are actually feeling really good about where they're at, and you continue to push them in that direction. Some guys, like Gore, early work today, like you're just individualizing everything to make sure that as a unit, we continue to move this thing forward.
The Cardinals collect just 7 hits, all singles. Brian Torres is the only player with multiple hits, going 2 for 4, and the club never gets a base runner past second. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
The Vegas Golden Knights are in the Stanley Cup final. They beat the Colorado Avalanche last night 2-1. Vegas sweeps the series in 4 games. Oklahoma City beats San Antonio 127-114 to take a 3-2 lead in the NBA's Western Conference Finals. St. Louis Composting knows that soil with 5% or more organic matter is the gold standard. It creates better structure, it locks in nutrients, and it dramatically improves water retention. Again, that's soil with 5% or more organic matter. You absolutely can get that from St. Louis Composting, stlcompost.com. They have a variety of soil mixtures that you can acquire, including the coveted Missouri Botanical Garden soil that they have in bags. Look, we all felt that brutal Missouri drought last summer. Top dressing your lawn right now makes it significantly more drought resistant. You can also get a full landscape cleanup by adding compost to your garden beds. How about some mulch? A fresh layer of mulch in your flower beds and around your trees is the fastest way to make your yard pop and lock in that moisture. It's St. Louis Composting. 9 locations in the St. Louis area, or as I said, stlcompost.com. Have it delivered. St. Louis Composting, growing gardens, making memories.
The final home game of the season is here, St. Louis. Your St. Louis Battlehawks hit the field Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. against the Dallas Renegades at the Dome at America Center. It's Battlehawk Kids Day, packed with family fun, Battlehawks energy, and an Archie bobblehead giveaway while supplies last. Join Battlehawks Nation. Bring the whole crew and help close out the season the only way St. Louis knows how. Loud and proud. Caw-caw. Because caw is the law. Get tickets starting at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com or Ticketmaster.
Tarps Off Media is sweeping Cardinals Nation. But before you take your shirt off, make sure it's a shirt worth taking off. Friday before Cards and Cubs at Busch, the DGS broadcasts live from patios starting at 3 p.m., counting down to first pitch. And Rally House will be on site with gear so good, you might actually want to keep your shirt on. It's your city. It's your house. It's Rally House with DGS live from patios Friday, May 29th. Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX. Your morning news and information. Total Information AM.
6:51, time to check in with Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Debbie, it's busy on a couple of these highways right now. This traffic report's a service of the Sandberg Phoenix Law Firm. One of them is going to be northbound 270. We had an incident in the construction zone at Ladue. They looked like they moved it over to the left shoulder. Traffic's a solid jam from Doherty Ferry up to Ladue on North 270 right now. Westbound 70 had a couple of problems earlier this morning between Z and David Hokel Parkway. It's all been cleared. Everything's back on the go there. But eastbound 70 is just kind of slow. Lake St. Louis into Bryan Road. Northbound 55, north of Richardson up to the Merrimack. You've got some busy traffic there. Westbound 64, 10 minutes ago, had some slow traffic approaching 159. It looks better now, so we're in a little bit of a lull there. In downtown, we're still clear across the Poplar Musical Veterans Bridges. Next update at 6:58 from the Overhead Door Company at St. Louis Traffic Center.
At Sandberg Phoenix, we're more than just a law firm. We're partners committed to you, your business, and your community. From family law to litigation, we're ready to serve. Visit sandbergphoenix.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Weather today, clouds and some sun, warm and humid, shower in places, maybe even a thunderstorm, high 84. Tonight, a chance of a thunderstorm in spots, otherwise partly cloudy, low 65. Tomorrow, just a warm day, clouds, sun, very warm, a high of 87 degrees. Currently, we have clouds downtown, 68 at the Arch.
The news continues at 6:52. Illinois Governor Pritzker says the bi-state's boom in data centers raises a concern. And for him, it's about the state's water. He argues Illinois is sitting on a resource most states would envy.
Water, we are one of the best states in the entire country for fresh water. 20% of the world's fresh water is attached to the state of Illinois. 20% of the world's fresh water, including the aquifers that run underneath our rivers, our lakes, and then 80% of the United States fresh water.
Pritzker says that supply has to be guarded from pollution and overuse by industry. He also is pushing to strip away state tax incentives for data center developers. He wants to make them cover their own power costs and infrastructure costs so residents don't get stuck with higher electric bills.
Illinois State Senator Christopher Belt has legislation, the Retail Cash Payment Act, which prohibits businesses from declining cash payments up to $500.
Senator Belt says we still need to acknowledge and respect an entire part of the population that still uses cash for different reasons.
Should not be an instance where they go to a retail mercantile establishment and their cash is not accepted. I mean, it seems like this is a common sense approach, but obviously we had to, enact legislation to get it to this point. So I'm happy it passed out the Senate.
Many people do not have bank accounts, while others are just more comfortable using cash. The Retail Cash Payment Act is waiting for Governor Pritzker's signature. Senator Belt expects he'll sign off. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
A measure to cap the cost of prescription drug prices is gaining traction in Illinois.
Lawmakers have debated the issue of prescription drug affordability for years, but no bill has made it out of a committee. That changed last Thursday when House lawmakers voted 62 to 39 to pass a bill that would allow an independent board to set the maximum price that a drug can be sold for in Illinois. The board would contain both the governor and appointed state lawmakers. However, there's only 1 month left of the state's legislative session. And with strong Republican opposition and no position taken by Governor J.B. Pritzker, the bill still has a long way to go. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
I heard it's somebody's birthday.
Birthday excitement. It's your birthday.
A big happy birthday to my co-host, Debbie Monterrey. She reads the birthdays every morning. Now we get to return the favor.
Aw.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. There's a bunch of other people celebrating birthdays today, including Terry Schmidt of Chesterfield, Wiley Price, Elizabeth Moore Malik from the Life Group, Bob Fox, Rhonda Homnebrugi, and Claire Panopoulos. By the way, the birthday shout out is sponsored by Renner Garage Door, RENNER, forward and back.
This is the best birthday ever.
Hey, let's talk for a second about a way that you can help a loved one and help yourself too. Because if you're sick and tired of constantly trying to find someone to care for your loved one who is at home and needs help with things like bathing and medication and heading to doctor's appointments and mobility and all those things, well, there is something called Freedom Care that you should know about. Freedom Care through Medicaid lets your family choose a trusted friend or a relative as your loved one's caregiver. So it could be somebody that your loved one already knows and trusts, who knows your loved one's routines. And again, maybe it's something they're already doing and can now get paid for. Caregivers can help with meals, medications, bathing, mobility while getting paid. And you don't have to spend all that time on the phone with rotating strangers in and out of the house. It's 100% free to you. Freedom Care handles the paperwork, the payroll, the training. So if you're already caring for someone with Medicaid, or if you're ready to help, or you just want more information about Freedom Care, call 314-947-5139. Get paid to care for a loved one with Freedom Care. 314-947-5139.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I went to Staples for a custom printed graduation banner and invites and saw that Party City is now at Staples.
Wait, what?
Party City is now at Staples.
So now Staples has balloons,
Yep.
decorations,
Yes.
streamers, cups, table covers.
Yep, Staples has everything for a party. And now buy two, get one free on select foil balloons.
Holy confetti! So the best party started Staples.
That was easy.
In 613 select stores, exclusions apply. In-store or buy online. Pick up in-store only.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. We're joined by Dr. Lewis Thomas, a WashU medicine urologist at Siteman Cancer Center, as we discuss bladder cancer. Dr. Thomas, is there anything we can do to prevent bladder cancer?
Yeah, Tom, that's a great question. So, probably 85% of bladder cancers are related to a history of tobacco exposure. And so I think, like many cancers, getting folks to quit smoking is one of the things that we, highly advocate for. I think for those who have been smoking for years, I will say, there's a lot of great tobacco cessation resources available through WashU and Siteman that they can certainly utilize. We do also know that, once someone quits smoking, the risk of bladder cancer, about 10 years after they quit, the risk of bladder cancer is actually then pretty similar to their peers.
Go to siteman.washu.edu. It's 6:58. Let's hear from Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we still got delays on eastbound 70, Tom. In fact, it looks a little bit more like a jam, so there may be a problem before Bryan Road. I can't see it right now from my vantage point, but I can see traffic backing up at Lake St. Louis Boulevard most of the way into Bryan, so there looks like there may be something blocking just before you get to the Bryan Road overpass on eastbound 70 right now. If you're on northbound 270, it's slow approaching Doherty Ferry, jam from Manchester up to 64. Again, it opens up as you get through 64 in the work zone. I can't tell if there's something new blocking there, if it's just traffic unwinding from the earlier incident we had at Ladue. Northbound 55 north of Richardson headed up to 141 is slow. Other than that, traffic on the Illinois side, 64 through 159 is clear and clear across the bridges downtown. Next update at 7:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Right now, it's cloudy and 68 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
I'm Sean Malone. If activists got their way and $150 million of the Rams settlement money went towards North St. Louis City, would Mayor Kara Spencer sign that bill? I've got that story coming up.
I'm Tom Ackerman.
Soon, drones can be keeping you safe in St. Louis City. I'm Maria Aquino with details.
The Teamsters striking Breakthrough Beverage confirmed to KMOX they're headed back to negotiations.
Anytime we're talking, it's reason to be optimistic.
I'm Michael Calhoun with the latest.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Clouds and some sun, warm and humid today with a shower or even a spotty thunderstorm, high 84.
Cardinal baseball today at 12:40.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. Back to work soon for first responders in southern Washington state after the rupture of a chemical tank at a paper plant killed one person and left 9 hurt, some seriously. Cowlitz Fire and Rescue Chief Scott Goldstein.
Officials can also confirm that there's currently 9 employees who remain unaccounted for.
Voters in Texas picking Attorney General Ken Paxton as the GOP nominee for Senate and voting down the incumbent, Senator John Cornyn. The senator spoke last night.
I've said throughout this race that I trust the voters of Texas, and they've made their decision, and I must respect it.
Paxton will face Democrat James Tallarico for Cornyn's Texas seat. Health officials warn the Ebola outbreak in Central Africa is growing beyond what responders can do to contain it. Rescuers in Laos found 5 of the 7 villagers who have been missing for more than a week in a flooded cave. They were trapped when heavy rain cut off the entrance. This is ABC News. NASA has revealed plans for creating a base on the moon so that astronauts can practice ahead of an eventual mission to Mars.
This $20 billion moon base project will unfold in 3 phases. The first, kicking off this year. NASA will use drones and rovers to scout the best sites near the moon's south pole before construction begins in 2029. During that first phase, NASA plans to land on the moon nearly 24 times. And by 2032, it plans to send the first astronauts to live and work on the lunar surface.
ABC's Sophie Flay. The mother of NFL quarterback Will Levis has revealed her son spent an exorbitant amount of money trying to scrub a leaked sex tape from the internet. On the tape, Levis and his then-girlfriend Gia Duddy, hackers apparently breached one of Levis's phones when he was in college. The heat wave continues in Western Europe. France and Spain and the UK have all been breaking records, the heat dome making it 20 degrees hotter than it usually is this time of year. Sherry Preston, ABC News.
It is 7:02, and right now we've got partly sunny skies officially, although it still looks pretty cloudy in downtown St. Louis. It is 68 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. If activists get their way and more money would be allocated towards North City, would Mayor Kara Spencer veto the bill allocating the Rams settlement fund?
No less than $150 million of the Rams settlement fund going to North City so that we can see it full.
It's not enough. We all know it, but we need to try to make the North Side whole.
$150 million of the Rams settlement should go to North St. Louis at minimum.
Mayor Kara Spencer said she wants to see how the process plays out, but would not rule out signing a bill that included $150 million for North St. Louis instead of the currently proposed $110 million. Spencer adds compromise is why she believes this latest version will pass the full Board of Aldermen.
We all recognize that we can't fill all of the $700 million of needs of the water department, and we can't fill the $2 billion hole that the tornado carved, let alone the decades of disinvestment on either side of the tornado in North St. Louis.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Calling it one of the most significant technological advances in the St. Louis Police Department's history. Here's Chief Robert Tracy in a video announcing the Aerial Response Unit.
Funding will come from a partnership with the St. Louis Police Foundation and its donors, but it's pending approval of the police board. The Aerial Response Unit will have 6 Brink drones strategically placed throughout the city.
The Aerial Response Unit aligns the SLMPD with other regional law enforcement agencies, which can respond within minutes of a 911 emergency call, allowing officers to have up to the second real-time information on crimes in progress.
Tracy says the technology will improve decision-making and assist during disasters. Maria Aquino, KMOX News.
2 arrests after a street takeover in the city this past weekend. Police say drug enforcement detectives interrupted the takeover near 9th and Branch on Sunday. They spotted a white Lexus doing stunts in the intersection with no plates. The driver, a 20-year-old Forestell woman, pulled over after detectives set up spike strips. She had her 3-year-old in the back seat and is now charged with stunt driving and child endangerment. A 32-year-old Columbia, Missouri man who took part in the takeover and tried to block detectives is also facing charges. St. Louis says street takeovers will not be tolerated.
A Granite City murder from 1993 has been solved.
70-year-old Albert Buddy Ziegler was charged Tuesday in connection with the death of 34-year-old Randy Gail Sprino. She was last seen entering Ziegler's truck in Granite City on November 9th, 1993. The Madison County State's attorney said she was later bludgeoned to death and her body was left in a field. DNA found at the crime scene has been continually tested for 26 years until researchers from Texas linked it to the Midwest last May. Ziegler was arrested last week and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is currently in custody at the Madison County Jail. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
It's now 7:05. No position from Missouri's transportation leader on a proposal to pause Missouri's gas tax.
Missouri Department of Transportation Director Ed Hassinger says it's too soon to weigh in on a plan from House members to suspend the state's 29.5-cent gas tax through the end of the year.
We're aware of those efforts, but until we know what that really looks like, it's pretty premature to comment on that. We take the revenue we get and we do the best we can with it, so we will continue to do that.
The proposal could cost about $713 million, with general revenue covering funding for MoDOT, cities, and counties during the pause. Hassinger says until details are finalized, the agency will continue making the most of current funding. Matt Pilger, Missouri Net.
A similar debate is playing out across the river in Illinois. I'm Michael Calhoun. Governor J.B. Pritzker got the same question this week, but his first answer was to put the blame on Washington.
Donald Trump has added about $1.50 a gallon to every gallon of gas that you fill your tank with, $1.50. It's a war of choice that's led to that. He took us into that war. He should get us out of that war.
Pritzker says that part is out of his hands as governor, but he notes he did freeze a scheduled increase in the state's gas tax a few years back. He says a temporary pause is something he'll weigh over the coming week, but he too cautions that the tax pays for roads and bridges that Illinois drivers count on.
As boating season kicks off, some safety tips for boat drivers.
That, of course, brings into play debris that is floating around on the lake. So need to be really cautious out there because there is stuff being reported floating down the river.
That's the advice of Master Captain Bob May, who talked to Missouri Net on Friday ahead of the busy holiday weekend. He says an increase in boat safety programming has led to 0 fatal boating accidents in the Ozarks over the last 2 years. While there was an accident, it wasn't fatal. 5 people were hurt in a boating accident at the lake on Monday when a boat struck a partially submerged log. The adult driver and 4 juvenile passengers were all taken to hospitals with minor to moderate injuries.
How much RAM settlement money is going to the city's water department? That question will be discussed at today's city council meeting. Mayor Kara Spencer previously proposed $30 million from the settlement to go to the water department, but a public hearing is expected to take up the question of whether or not that amount is enough. This comes after a water rate increase was introduced to the aldermen last week. Today's meeting will be held this afternoon at 3:30 p.m. at City Hall.
From the KMOX business desk, 2 downtown office buildings will be auctioned off in the next few weeks. The 30-story Bank of America Plaza on Market Street will go on the auction block on June 22nd with an opening starting bid of just $2 million. That's a far cry from the almost $48 million it sold for in 2010. According to the Business Journal, the building is 40% occupied with 11 tenants.
Another property in receivership is going up for auction on the same day. The former Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield of Missouri headquarters on Chestnut near Union Station will be auctioned June 22nd. There are 8 major downtown properties that have entered receivership in the past 15 months.
It's 7:08, and we'll take a look at traffic and weather coming your way next on Total Information AM.
Insurance companies often have a basic strategy: delay, deny, defend. Some try to grind you down, but they have another tremendous weapon, a software called Colossus. They know which attorneys are great and which are not so great. They know who is likely to take the last offer and who will take them by their scalp, kicking and screaming to trial. They know that they have to pay some firms early and fairly. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. The insurance companies have done their homework. Before you hire a lawyer for your injury case, do yours. Visit forthepeople.com and see our settlements and verdicts for cases like yours. We became the largest injury firm in the world for a reason. When you hire the wrong firm, you may be beat before you start. All law firms are not the same. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done inside and out at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol-Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts.
Let's check in with Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the highway's gotten better, Tom, out west. You know, I mentioned at the top of the hour about a backup on eastbound 70 coming into Bryan Road from Lake St. Louis. I couldn't tell what it was, or whatever it was. Probably a stall because they quickly cleared it and the delays are gone now. No longer an issue on Highway 70 in either direction. So it's finally looking good there. It's looking better on northbound 270, but they're bumper to bumper, Doherty Ferry to Manchester. And then it's slow in pockets from there up through Ladue where we had an earlier incident. Northbound 55, about midway between Richardson and 141 up to the Merrimack's kind of slow in the right lanes. Mattis up to the North 270 exit. You've got some heavier traffic. Westbound 64 right now looks okay through 159, and it's still clear across the bridges downtown after that. Next update at 7:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
KMOX AccuWeather, clouds and some sun, warm and humid today. A shower in places, maybe even a spotty thunderstorm, the high 84. There can be a stray evening thunderstorm, otherwise partly cloudy tonight, though 65. Clouds, some sun, and quite warm tomorrow, high 87. For Friday, times of sun and clouds, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
It's cloudy right now, 67 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Operation Viper, a 2-week surge in federal agents to the region last month, is being hailed as a success by the FBI. Deputy Director and former Missouri Attorney General Andrew Bailey says this is targeted at large fugitives wanted for crimes related to drugs and violence.
The majority of these are the worst of the worst criminals on the streets, and that's why the intelligence packages were put together for those individuals. The Bureau traditionally takes an enterprise-wide approach, so we start at the top, work our way down, and dismantle the entire enterprise.
In total, 91 arrests were made, including 17 undocumented people. Bailey says this was done to head off the usual rise in crime that comes with the warmer temperatures of summer.
A charter cleanup at the St. Louis County Council is headed for the August ballot, although one member says it leaves a loose end. The council voted 6-1 to ask voters on August 4th to amend the county charter, bringing it in line with the state constitution on when elected officials take office and also changing how their pay is set. As the council took up that language, Councilman Dennis Hancock flagged a different problem.
If we're going to be cleaning up charter language through this bill, we might also want to look at the provision in here for appointing a new prosecuting attorney, because this doesn't change the Supreme Court, doesn't comply with the Supreme Court's recent ruling about who gets to appoint a prosecuting attorney in St. Louis County.
Hancock raised it as something to revisit down the road, not a change to this measure, which passed and now goes to voters in August.
Recent economic studies are pointing to a dip in small business optimism in Missouri. Brad Jones of the National Federation of Independent Business Missouri office says inflation has forced business owners into some tough decisions.
You can raise prices, but in a competitive market, you can only do that so much.
He says many of Missouri's small businesses are delaying big purchases, expansion plans, or even hiring of extra staff.
The Teamsters strike against Missouri's largest alcohol distributor is spreading.
The union is extending picket lines from St. Louis and suburban Chicago to now include Breakthrough Beverage facilities in Kansas City and Champaign, with workers there honoring the picket lines instead of crossing them. Breakthrough supplies brands like Jameson and Absolute to bars and stores across the state. Union leader Jeff Pedalero tells KMOX the strike's impact is already being felt.
We've heard of restaurants and some of these bars and whatnot that are refusing deliveries because they don't want to deal with a company that's not willing to treat their employees fairly.
More than 215 drivers and warehouse workers are on strike. A Breakthrough spokesperson tells us, quote, "We have contingency plans in place to help ensure minimal disruption to our Missouri operations and continue to maintain service for our customers and suppliers. We remain committed to reaching a fair and sustainable resolution as soon as possible and continue to encourage the unions to re-engage in meaningful discussions." Good news, both sides do confirm to KMOX that St. Louis negotiations are set to resume next week. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
And lastly, Uribe's antics. Any comment on that?
No, I mean, it looked like their team and Murph was handling it on their side. That's their player. Will handle ours, but it seemed like they were taking care of it.
What is Ollie Marmol talking about with Chip Carey there on our broadcast last night? Matt Pauley, explain what happened towards the end of the game between the Cardinals and the Brewers.
As the Cardinals are trailing the Brewers 6-0 in the 8th inning, Milwaukee pitcher Abner Uribe strikes out Alec Burleson to end the inning. He then looks to the Cardinals dugout and performs a number of crotch chops. His manager, Pat Murphy, is not happy with the antics.
Yeah, it's just unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things, and I was embarrassed by it.
Through a translator, Uribe apologizes to Murphy, his teammates, and the Brewers organization, but not to the Cardinals.
I understand that that's unacceptable to go out there and to react in a way like that. But at the same time, I don't think it's professional for their manager to be making signs towards our dugout saying that he's going to be hitting guys. And there's an event that occurred during the practice today, too. And I don't think that was right. So, I have my teammates back.
Uribe refuses further comment, and the Cardinals have denied the allegations. Matt Pauley, KMOX Sports.
Well, Matt, it should make for an interesting game, at least from a listener standpoint. We'll be tuning in to see the Cardinals take on the Brewers at 12:40, 11:45 for the pregame. Cut of the game sponsored by the Diamond Shop, thediamondshop.net. It'll be Dustin May on the mound for St. Louis this afternoon. And again, we'll have the game on KMOX. The Cardinals are still in second place in the NL Central. They trail the Brewers, though, by 3.5 now. Milwaukee has separated from the pack. They are 32-20. Cardinals are 29-24. Right behind them, the Reds, 4 games back. Pirates, 4.5 back, tied with the Cubs, who have tumbled all the way to last place in the division. The Cubs have lost 10 in a row. They got blown out yesterday by the Pirates, 12-1. In the Stanley Cup playoffs, it's the Vegas Golden Knights advancing to the Stanley Cup final. Vegas beat Colorado last night 2-1 on a Gabriel Landeskog goal at the 17:57 mark of the third period. That goal by Landeskog cut it to 2-1, but that's all that they could get, and Vegas wins it. Cole Smith had the game winner at 14:15. Mark Stone got the scoring started, and the Golden Knights win it over the President's Trophy winning Colorado Avalanche in 4 games. They await the winner of Montreal and Carolina. The Hurricanes are up 2-1 in that series with a game at Montreal tonight at 7. NBA Finals are half there. The New York Knicks are waiting for the winner of San Antonio and Oklahoma City. The Thunder 1 win away after beating the Spurs last night, 127-114. I'm Tom Ackerman on the home of the Cardinals. 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Hello, 4th of July.
Back-to-back Jack! Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight!
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real, The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. Get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Don't miss a moment of it. Get your tickets at cardinals.com.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
If your ride's out of warranty and something big breaks, it could cost you thousands. Ludacris here. Let me put you on to the auto protection I trust, Endurance. With Endurance, you could never have to pay out of pocket for covered car repairs again. I'm talking about the pricey stuff, drivetrain, transmission, electrical, AC, plus lots more. You pick the certified mechanic and Endurance pays them directly. No middlemen, no runaround. If your car is under 20 years old, you're covered with unlimited miles. Plus added benefits like 24/7 roadside assistance and towing. And your rate won't go up no matter how many claims you file. Listen, saving money is the same as making money. So who's going to cover your next breakdown? You or Endurance? Right now, pick the plan that's right for you and get a full year of elite benefits. A $2,000 value, free. All backed by a 30-day money-back guarantee.
For your fast free quote, call 800-295-0763. 800-295-0763. 800-295-0763.
Coverage varies by plan. View contracts and exclusions at endurancewarranty.com.
Now the news at 9 The Talk. The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It is 7:20. This is Total Information AM. I'm Debbie Monterrey along with Tom Ackerman. Let's check in with Roger Brand and get the latest on the roads. He is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, the biggest delays we've got are on North 270, Debbie. It's slow as you ramp on from 55 just at the merge on point, and then it sorts itself out till you get closer to Big Bend. As you approach Big Bend, it's just sort of bogged down in a couple of stretches all the way up through Ladue. South 270, though, headed down into the Ladue work zone, looks fine. Out west, southbound 61, eastbound 64, and eastbound 70 look great coming out of St. Charles County across the Missouri River bridges. Northbound 55, north of Richardson up to the Merrimack, slow. The right lane's kind of busy. Butler Hill up to that North 270 exit. Like I said, it's kind of busy there. On the Illinois side, westbound 64, just brief delays through 159, but after that, it's clear sailing across the Poplar and the Muswell Veterans Bridges. And the rest of the interstates, like 64 in the Richmond Heights area for the time being, you're good to go there. And 270 up north out of Madison County into North St. Louis County, no delays. Next update is 7:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
It's going to be a day of humidity, a little bit of clouds, a little bit of sun, maybe a shower, maybe a thunderstorm. So got it all wrapped up into one day. A high of 84. Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots this evening, otherwise partly cloudy, low 65. Tomorrow, clouds and sun, very warm, high 87. Currently, it's 68 downtown at the Arch.
It's 7:22. Pope Leo's first encyclical, just out on Monday, addresses the arrival of artificial intelligence, both the pros and the cons. KMOX religion editor Fred Bottomer got some insight on the papal message from St. Louis Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky.
What Pope Leo is telling us in this encyclical, Magnificent Humanity, is that we're really at a crossroads in our history, and that is artificial intelligence has the capacity to do great good for humanity, or it has the capacity to detract from our humanity, to be an affront to the dignity of what our humanity is. Pope Leo uses the gospel message of Jesus, who came to redeem our humanity because we are created in God's image. Artificial intelligence does have the possibility of taking away from what our humanity really is. So I think that is the central message of the new encyclical, Magnificent Humanity. The Holy Father wants us to really reflect. How do we use this technology? How do we use it for the betterment of everyone? Or could it be used to detract and just be put in the hands of a few.
What are some of his concerns?
First of all, I think one of the concerns that he mentions in this encyclical is that artificial intelligence can string together words, it can give us images and all, but artificial intelligence does not have the capacity to feel, to empathize, doesn't have the capacity to reflect as we human beings do. It doesn't have the capacity to make moral judgments because there's no means for it to do so. Human beings make moral judgments. So Pope Leo is saying, look at the depth of our humanity, how we are created in God's image, and look at what artificial intelligence can do to help us, but also use the wrong way, it can detract from who we are.
Does Pope Leo offer any solutions to either government leaders or corporations or even to Catholics?
I don't think that the encyclical was written with the idea of providing solutions. I think the encyclical is written with the idea of giving us material to reflect, so that when we make decisions regarding artificial intelligence, whether it be the government or individual companies or individuals, that they would not use artificial intelligence for ways that would take away our humanity.
So what's your message to the Catholic flock here in St. Louis about this papal encyclical?
Pope Leo has given us this encyclical at a time when we really need it. In the turn of the 19th century, Pope Leo XIII wrote Rerum Novarum in response to the Industrial Revolution. Pope Leo XIV realizes that he has been elected at the technological revolution. So just because we can do things, or we have the ability, should we do so without first reflecting on what we're doing? And that's the message that I get from Magnificent Humanity.
Another part of the papal encyclical, Pope Leo actually apologizes for the role that the Holy See played in legitimizing slavery and for having failed to condemn it for centuries. Tell us about that.
Pope Leo wanted to include the issue of slavery in the encyclical because he wanted to show that the church realized that it was a wrong, it was a sin. And the church took a while to condemn slavery. But in reflecting upon how slavery took away from the humanity of so many individuals, Pope Leo does not want technology to take away our humanity. So the church, yes, was slow in condemning slavery. Pope Leo does not want to make that same mistake in being able to assess technology and artificial intelligence.
That is St. Louis Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky speaking with our KMOX religion editor, Fred Bottomer. It is 7:27, and the time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Well, summer at the Missouri Athletic Club means fun, and the outdoor pool at the West Clubhouse is the place to be in the summer months for a good old-fashioned summer party. Designed with families, relaxation, casual recreation in mind, that space offers a true summer water park feel while maintaining the standards of the club. It's just a great place to hang out with family. You'll really enjoy it. Some of the key features include a big open swimming pool, loads of poolside seating, new chairs they just put in last year. The diving board, of course, is always popular. It's fun to watch the kids and adults go off the board. They have designated lap lanes, so you can safely swim your laps while everybody's playing and having a good time. Lifeguards are on duty. And because we all know the best way to spend a summer afternoon is with a cold drink, you can have your food and beverage service, whether you walk up or have it delivered to your seat. It all goes on at the Missouri Athletic Club's outdoor pool. We think about summer. We think about the MAC pool in West County, the West Outdoor Pool. We also have an indoor pool downtown. We got the MAC Clayton, which is serving up drinks and beverages, food and drinks, beverages, all kinds of good stuff going on at the MAC. In Clayton, 3 clubhouses, 1 membership, mac-stl.org.
There's nothing like hearing your friends and family clearly. A grandchild's laugh, conversation with a friend, or the punchline to a joke. Charlie Brennan here with Dr. Colleen Bosler from the Audiology Center. Dr. Bosler and her team understand that hearing is personal. That's why you'll always work with certified audiologists like Adam Voss, Bailey Campbell, and Dr. Colleen Bosler.
That's right, Charlie. We offer hearing aids from all major manufacturers, so our recommendations are based on what fits you best. With us, we follow best practice fitting methods to ensure your hearing aids are programmed precisely for your unique hearing needs. But our care doesn't end when you walk out the door. As we know, hearing aids require continued support, adjustments, and maintenance, and we offer these services at no extra cost to you. Because better hearing isn't just about devices, it's about reconnecting to the moments that matter most. Call us today at 636-441-7470 or visit us online at theaudiologycenterstl.com.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
It is 7:30, and right now in downtown St. Louis, we've got cloudy skies, 69 degrees. I'm Debbie Monterrey.
And I'm Tom Ackerman. Roger Brands of the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Bell still doesn't look bad out there, folks. So the busiest stretch we have is North 270 right now. There's a little bit of a slowdown still as you're ramping on from North 55, just the merge on point briefly, just a brief slowdown through Gravois. A little bit of a backup between Big Bend and Doherty Ferry, and then it's just slow all the way up to Ladue after that. South 270, though, coming down to Ladue from, well, really Interstate 70 is wide open, no problems there. Eastbound 70 and 64, southbound 61, all look great coming out of Wentzville across the Missouri River bridges. Northbound 55, approaching the Church Road overpass up to the Merrimack River, a little slow there. After that, you're in good shape downtown. On the Illinois side, we have some slow traffic now from 50 over to 159 on westbound 64, and then it's slow again from the 70 split to 3rd Street, and then Route 3 to the Poplar. Route 3 kind of off the pace from Judith up through Monsanto, as well as a little more volume building there. Next update is 740 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We have ourselves a warm, humid day today. It's going to be even a spotty thunderstorm around, a shower in places, but otherwise clouds and some sun, high 84. Thunderstorm in spots this evening, low 65 with a partly cloudy sky. Tomorrow, clouds, sun, very warm, high of 87. Currently, we have clouds in downtown St. Louis. It's 69 degrees.
Many of Missouri's small businesses are reporting financial stress, according to a pair of surveys. Brad Jones with the National Federation of Independent Businesses, the Missouri office, says inflation pressure is forcing many businesses to get creative.
I'm going to do what I'm doing, but I'm not going to spend a lot of money right now, or even, hire those 2 or 3 people that I really, really need. But maybe we'll just see here in the next few months how things are going to go.
The NFIB surveys multiple economic trends, including employment, sales, and expenses. Jones says their latest numbers show a dip in the optimism index.
$150 million for tornado recovery in St. Louis. That should be obvious.
Take that $55 million from downtown development. It can wait. We don't need sidewalk cafes and restaurants and exciting events.
$150 million is a start.
Activists urging city leaders to allocate more money to the north side than the $110 million from the Rams settlement funds. Mayor Kara Spencer was asked if she would still sign a bill that took the $40 million difference from other funds and put it towards North City. She didn't say no.
I'm not ruling anything out at this point. What I'd like to see is this bill move forward.
This was from a public hearing yesterday in downtown St. Louis. No vote was taken on the bill in committee.
I want to be clear. These drones are specifically designed for first responders and situational awareness.
That's St. Louis Police Chief Robert Tracy releasing a video about the department's intentions to have an aerial response unit.
The aerial response unit will have 6 Brink drones with funding by the St. Louis Police Foundation and its donors.
We'll always safeguard the civil liberties of our residents, and these Brink drones will not be equipped with any type of weaponry. This is about faster response times, smarter public safety, and a stronger regional collaboration.
Tracy says this allows SLMPD to invest in a smarter, faster, and more coordinated public safety mission for the city. The aerial response unit still requires the approval of the police board. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Your Money Minute next.
St. Louis is a baseball town, and the Gas House Gang talks Cardinals baseball. Ackerman, Ranji, Nicholas, and Claves bring informed opinions and real insight. Smart baseball talk from guys who truly know the game. And every Tuesday at noon, it's All Access with Cardinals manager Ollie Marmol. Passion, knowledge, the best baseball talk in town. The Gas House Gang. Weekdays at noon. We know baseball. KMOX.
Snakes, zombies, public speaking. The list of fears is endless. But the real danger is in your hand when you're behind the wheel. Distracted driving is what's really scary and even deadly. Eyes forward. Don't drive distracted. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We asked parents to share their journey of adopting teens.
They changed who I am because I can't see life without them in it.
Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. Brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
At Uline, they know going the extra mile takes hard work. For companies pushing to go further, Uline will go the distance with you. 24/7, they answer the phone to get you the shipping and industrial supplies you need. Business can move fast. Unexpected large orders, adverse weather, new safety guidelines, and changing economic trends. Uline works hard keeping 41,000 items ready to ship, minimizing detours on your way to the extra mile. Visit uline.com.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I'm grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
It is 7:36. You are tuned in to Total Information AM for this Wednesday, May 27th. Let's get you updated on your money report. It is sponsored by Busey Bank.
This is a Bloomberg Money Minute. Groupon is cutting jobs. The site that finds deals for restaurants, shopping, and events is laying off 400 workers globally. The company says it's looking to rebuild itself as an artificial intelligence native company. Most of these job cuts will happen by the end of the third quarter. Checking on your money, the S&P 500 hit another record high yesterday with chip makers leading the charge. This morning, investors are tracking continuing developments in the Middle East. S&P futures are up 21 points, Dow futures rising 235. And Exxon and ConocoPhillips are said to be in active negotiations with Venezuela about tapping the country's vast oil reserves. Both companies are worried about what may happen if the political situation changes and are looking for ironclad contracts as they consider re-entering the country. One of the most critical issues is whether the companies can structure their investments in such a way that they don't lose money if they're nationalized in the future. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Within the cities we call home, Busey Bank is more than a name. It's a commitment to your dreams. With Busey, trusted guidance is tailored to empower you every step of the way. Whether it's seamlessly managing your finances or planning for your future, Busey is dedicated to your financial success. Busey Bank, building business, growing wealth since 1868. Member FDIC.
Staples presents Celebrations Made Easy.
I was throwing a party for the twins and had custom invites and a banner printed at Staples. And that's when I saw Party City is now at Staples.
Party City? No way!
Yep. So now Staples has all your printing needs and everything you need for a party.
Everything times 2.
Yeah, and now at Staples, save 40% on custom cards, photo gifts, wrapping paper, banners, and more.
Big news! Party City is now at Staples.
That was easy.
Shop Staples in-store, online, or on the app. In 613, exclusions apply.
It is 7:38 as Total Information AM continues. The CDC now asking for volunteers to help screen travelers arriving at U.S. airports for Ebola. Bush Intercontinental Airport in Houston is now one of just 3 entry points for U.S. citizens who have been in the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda, or South Sudan in the past 3 weeks. Non-Americans are currently banned from entering the country if they've traveled to those areas. Ebola is suspected to have killed more than 200 people, and international aid group health officials say this outbreak could become the deadliest on record. They're warning the outbreak is spreading faster than responders can contain it.
It's 7:39.
Spring and summer air should feel fresh, not full of dust, allergens, and whatever winter left behind in your vents. Your air ducts are the lungs of your home, and if they're dirty, they're breathing it in every day. That's where Zero Res comes in, backed by over thousands of Google reviews and a 4.9 rating. This month, only get a whole system air duct cleaned for just $599. That's cleaner air, better efficiency, and a fresher home guaranteed. 314-474-2020 or ZeroResSTL.com.
Chesterfield Fence and Deck is the sign you have the very best. I can speak from experience because they built a fence for me, and it's probably, I don't know, I lose track of time, at least a dozen years old, maybe more, and it is still standing strong. It still looks beautiful. It is in perfect condition, which is so much more than I can say about a lot of other fences I've seen in my neighborhood go up and have already been replaced several times over, because the cheapest price does not always mean quality work. And that is the real value of Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They use the best materials and they have the best installation teams with years of experience. And so it is a true value that when Chesterfield Fence and Deck build something for you, it is going to last for years to come. And your outdoor space could become your favorite room of the house. Whether you're looking for a new deck, a patio, a pergola, a sunroom, a screen room, a retaining wall, all of the above, and then some, they do free project design, free in-home estimates, or visit them in the Chesterfield Valley. Mention me, Debbie Monterrey, and get 48 months interest-free financing at Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best at chesterfieldfence.com.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading Bargain liquid detergent.
Today, the Cards, the Brewers.
Cameron Total Access 1145. First pitch 1240.
Cardinals Radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Roger Brand is in the overhead door company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
We're still busy on North 270, Tom. This traffic reports the Service of Financial and Tax Strategies. Slow going, backed up briefly at 44, actually. Then it's slow all the way up through to Ladue after that. If you're coming in on eastbound 64, there's slow traffic 170 to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Hanley. That's kind of heavy. Eastbound 70, a little slow east of the Blanchett into Earth City. Northbound 141 is heavy north of Manchester, like North Highlands Boulevard, but it jams from about Milldale all the way up to 64 if you're thinking about taking that route. Northbound 55, 4500 Broadway up toward Potomac looks a little busy. And on the Illinois side, westbound 64 from the 70s to the Poplar is slow. Next update is 7:50 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
If your retirement plan is mostly what if and a little fingers crossed, you deserve better answers than that. Check out Wealth and Wisdom Saturdays at 7 a.m. here on KMOX. I'm Gary Goldberg. Call 800-966-1690.
7:42 and time to check in with our AccuWeather meteorologist, Joe Lundberg. Now it just looks kind of humid and cloudy out there.
And I think that's exactly what it's going to be like for most of the morning hours. Lots of clouds. Eventually, the sun will start popping out, and there could still be a pop-up shower or thunderstorm, but the vast majority of the day will be rain-free. Our high does get to 84 with that added sun over yesterday. Maybe an evening thunderstorm. That goes away quickly. Partly cloudy tonight, though, 65. Very warm day tomorrow with some sunshine and a high of 87. Times of sun Friday. Times of sun and clouds for Friday. A little bit cooler at 82. I can't rule out a thunderstorm in the afternoon, but really I'm not optimistic about having one. Saturday, Sunday looks pretty good. Clouds and some sunshine. Temperatures low 80 Saturday, closer to 80 on Sunday. Right now it's 70 at St. Peter, 72 in Florissant, just kind of mostly cloudy and humid, and 72 downtown at the Arch. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Joe, thank you. Sports coming up in 90 seconds. Still few details from the White House about President Trump's visit yesterday to Walter Reed Medical Center. Here's ABC News senior political correspondent Rachel Scott.
White House billing this as a routine annual dental and medical assessment, but it comes amid questions about the president's health, given recent photos showing bruising on his hands, swelling in his legs. The White House says that the bruising on his hands is from frequent handshaking, that the swelling is related to a benign common condition related to the veins. The president turns 80 in just a few weeks and still no readout from the White House doctor.
In New Jersey, tensions remain high outside Delaney Hall, a federal immigration facility in Newark, where Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed yesterday by federal agents. ABC's Phil Tate is outside the facility.
Anger continues to build by the day as reports had surfaced of a hunger strike by detainees allegedly facing poor conditions inside. In response to these protests, DHS Secretary Mullen says the Trump administration is considering travel restrictions in sanctuary cities where local police don't cooperate with immigration enforcement.
Ins and Outs, sponsored by Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. Let's get down to it and hear from Pat Murphy, the manager of the Milwaukee Brewers, responding after the Cardinals. I don't blame him. Ivan Herrera said it disrespected the entire team. Abner Uribe with a triple crotch chop after striking out Alec Burleson. It's the only way to describe it. You have to see the video for yourself. It looks like a pro wrestler out there making moves on the mound. Apparently he was upset about something he thought he saw from Ollie Marmol, thinking that the Cardinals are trying to throw inside on his players. After he strikes out Burleson, he had all kinds of antics and gestures for the Cardinals, and Murphy wasn't having it. The Brewers skipper let Uribe hear about it when he came off the field, and then he talked to reporters about it after the game.
Yeah, that's unacceptable. Yeah, it's just unacceptable. I don't know what got over him. I mean, he's been an emotional guy, but that kind of thing, that's just not how we do things. And I was embarrassed by it. And you know, why are we doing it? It's 6-0 game. What are we doing there? And there must be something deeper that I don't know about. I love the kid. Believe me, I love the kid. There's so much good in this kid. He's been so great for us in so many ways, but that's unacceptable. So whatever's going on, you can't tolerate that for his teammates and for everything else. It's just not. It's not going to be tolerated. That's all there's to it. So.
Process-wise, Murph, is that already handled?
Well, I've already talked to him about it, but we haven't. I wouldn't be surprised if the MLB did something. You know what I mean? Like that's just you don't do that. Okay, we all have emotions, we all feel things, and have our personal likes and dislikes, but and emotions run high. We understand that. Home runs, strikeouts, ninth inning saves. You know, the thing that I think about is if that challenge got overturned, you know, you got to reset and go back out there and pitch. You know, this is Major League Baseball. You know, guys can reset, boom, base hit, dumper, homer, and all of a sudden it's 6-5. You know, so it's like, you know, that kind of stuff is just there's no place for it. If you're trying to be a really good team, if you're trying to repeat the kind of things we've done the last couple of years, if you're trying to do that and more, that stuff there's no part of it in the game.
Brewers won the game 6-0. An excellent start from left-hander Kyle Harrison, but it's the Abner Uribe antics after his strikeout of Burleson that irked the Cardinals. Ivan Herrera, again, saying that he thought that it disrespected the entire team, and he said that he was going to hope that they take care of it and that they move on. Although Ollie Marmol said after the game, he felt like it looked like Pat Murphy was handling it on their side. That's what he told our Chip Carey. It does make for an intriguing day game today. 12:40 first pitch, 11:45 for the pregame here on KMOX. Our Circa Sports parlay of the day, sports betting the way it should be. I'm going to give that to you in just a minute. First, let me tell you about Innsbruck Resort, where every day is the weekend. What a great place. Everybody involved in that situation should just go to Innsbruck and relax, just chill. Great place to have a vacation weekend or in the middle of the week. That's why they say every day is the weekend. I'll bet you today at Innsbruck is a great one. And even on a humid, cloudy day, just tee it up. One of their pros there, like Kevin Korn, will get you all set up. It's a public golf course. You can call in, get your tee time, go check out Innsbruck. It's a great way to tour Innsbruck, at least that part of it, because there are 7,500 acres at Innsbruck where you can enjoy the 100 lakes, fishing, golfing, just, relaxing outside, hanging out, swimming in the cool water during a hot summer day. A rental at Innsbruck is the way to go. Check out Innsbruck-resort.com. Now, as for that parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports, sports betting the way it should be, I'm going to refocus on the NBA and say that, as I've said for weeks, the New York Knicks are going to win the NBA title. I think it's probably something to keep an eye on. The other thing is the Oklahoma City Thunder, who won yesterday over the San Antonio Spurs, 127-114. They are a win away from advancing to the NBA Finals. But be careful here. This San Antonio Spurs team is the real deal. I like the Spurs tomorrow -3.5. Now, the NBA championship, when I told you the Knicks were going to win it, it was at +540. It's now at +230. Still like it. Knicks +230 to win it all. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I think I'm right on this one. That's the parlay of the day, sponsored by Circa Sports. Sports betting the way it should be.
Hey, Missouri, it's game time. Start betting like a pro with the world's largest sports book at your fingertips. Hi, I'm Derek Stevens. I'm a lifelong sports bettor, and I'm the owner of Circa Sports. It's sports betting the way it should be, with high limits, player-friendly pricing, exceptional customer service, and more. Download your new bookie at circasports.com. The action starts now, Missouri. Experience the difference with Circa Sports. Bet like a pro.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Cards and Cubs. The rivalry returns to Busch Stadium May 29th, and we are kicking off the weekend early. I'm Tom Ackerman. Join me for a Redbird Roundtable featuring Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, and Matt Adams. Thursday, May 28th at the Beer Garden at Anheuser-Busch Brewery. We're talking ball, enjoying a cold beer, and celebrating one of baseball's best rivalries. The doors open at 4:30. The Redbird Roundtable, Thursday, May 28th, a free event. Must be 21 or older to attend. Full details at KMOX.com.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM KMOX. Now the news at 1, the fun. It's the Dave Glover Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Let's check in with Roger Brand right now at 7:52. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, we're still slow on North 270, Debbie. North of 44 all the way up through 64 to Ladue is still pretty busy. If you're coming in on eastbound 70, the Blanchett into our city, that's kind of bogged down. Northbound 141 between Milldale and Clayton Road up to 64, that's still backed up. Eastbound 64, just some heavy traffic east of McKnight to Big Bend. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley, you got delays. And then it's a little slow 270 out toward Mason on westbound 64 after that. Northbound 55, 4500 Broadway to Potomac is busy, and westbound 64, 5570 and 64 back up briefly at the split, and then on 64 remains heavy in pockets headed across the Poplar after that. Eastbound 64, 255 to 157 kind of busy in the work zone now as well. Next update is 7:58 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg, Roger, says we're going to have a shower in places today, maybe even a spotty thunderstorm, high 84. One thing we know for sure, it's going to be humid. I'm sure you felt that humidity come in yesterday. Tonight, a thunderstorm in spots, otherwise partly cloudy, low 65. Tomorrow, clouds, some sun, very warm, and a high of 87 for Thursday. Currently, we have a cloudy sky in downtown St. Louis. It's already 70 degrees.
Illinois lawmakers are advancing a bill to control prescription drug prices.
House lawmakers passed a bill late last week that would regulate the price of certain prescription drugs in Illinois. The issue has been a point of contention for years in the state house, but has never passed out of a committee. The bill would allow an independent board to set the maximum price that a drug can be sold for in the state. The board would contain both the governor and appointed state lawmakers. The legislation passed the House last Thursday on a vote of 62 to 39. It has about a month to make it through the Senate as Illinois lawmakers adjourn for the summer on May 31st, and it could face another hurdle with Governor J.B. Pritzker, who hasn't publicly endorsed the measure yet. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Also in the news this morning, Total Information AM on KMOX is looking into communities across our region clashing over big data centers. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has taken a tough position. He says the companies behind these projects, not everyday electric customers, should carry the entire cost.
I propose taking away all the incentives associated with data centers, because at this point, what we need to make sure happens is that anybody that wants to build a data center has to bring their own power, pay for it entirely. It can't affect the electric prices for residents.
Pritzker says the rush to build also threatens something Illinois has in abundance. It's water. He wants any new data developments barred from draining or polluting the state's water supply. He calls it, quote, an asset worth protecting.
Sepsis complications. I'm Fred Bottomer with 60 Seconds to Better Health. NASCAR's Kyle Busch died of sepsis complications, his pneumonia progressing to sepsis, which ABC News medical correspondent Dr. Darian Sutton says can be deadly even in young, healthy people.
During pneumonia, the lungs can fill with fluid that can interrupt the exchange of oxygen, leading to shortness of breath. And there are times where that infection can spread to the rest of the body and cause an overwhelming response. And we define that as sepsis. And while there are certain groups that are high at risk, older adults, those with a history of conditions like heart disease or diabetes, this can also happen, although uncommon, to healthy people. I've managed certain difficult cases such as this one. Nearly 2 million people are diagnosed with sepsis every year, and more than 300,000 people die. The key here is understanding when an infection rapidly progresses. For example, during what you think is initially a urine infection, suddenly you have a fever and a fast heart rate, or a skin infection and suddenly it's spreading fast, or pneumonia and suddenly you can't speak full sentences. Those are signs that your infection is progressing beyond where it started, and that is when you need to get help.
With 60 Seconds to Better Health, I'm Fred Bottomer.
The legendary Fast Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air and St. Louis baseball legend Jason Isringhausen.
Izzy, what's going on, man? You know what, Eddie boy, I've been pretty busy. Got to get out there and got to do the mowing. Yep, I'll tell you what, when you get done mowing the grass. Well, I do my best Forrest Gump impression with all of that mowing I have to do around the property. Do it for St. Louis, do it. Like Mama said, life is like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get, except at Fast Eddie's Bon Air. What are we going to get at Fast Eddie's? Let me get it right. You can come on over to Fast Eddie's Bar Bon Air, located on the other side of Clark Bridge in beautiful Alton, Illinois. When you're done mowing the grass, come over here and lounge around with me on the beautiful outdoor patio with all the big screens, the live music playing, the hot chick on a stick. What about that fancy surf and turf you came up with? Man, I'm telling you what, that is meat and seafood on one stick. And it's called the Eddie. It's the king of all foods. Like Mr. Shannon always said, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to that Clark Bridge and come see Fast Eddie's Bon Air in beautiful Alton, Illinois.
Lunch was great, but this traffic is awful.
Can we stop at a bathroom?
Are you all right?
I keep having stomach issues after eating, like diarrhea, gas and bloating, abdominal pain, and sometimes oily stools.
Sound familiar? Those stomach issues may actually be a pancreas issue called exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI. Creon pancrelipase may help manage EPI. Creon is a prescription medicine used to treat people who can't digest food normally because their pancreas doesn't make enough enzymes.
Creon may increase your chance of fibrosing colonopathy, a rare bowel disorder. Tell your doctor if you have a history of intestinal blockage or scarring or thickening of your bowel wall, if you are allergic to pork, or if you have gout, kidney problems, or worsening of painful swollen joints. Call your doctor if you have any unusual or severe gastrointestinal symptoms or allergic reactions. Take Creon as directed by your doctor and always with food. Do not chew capsules as this may cause mouth irritation. Other side effects may include blood sugar changes, gas, dizziness, sore throat, and cough. These are not all the side effects of Creon. Call 800-633-9110 or visit creoninfo.com to learn more.
This is Ackerman, meteorologist Joe Lund.
I'm asking my doctor about EPI and if Creon could help.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan.
We recently received a call from an injured person. The insurance company had offered them $11,000. We took the case over and got more than $2 million in court. Morgan & Morgan.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
Here is Roger Brand in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, if you're heading out the door onto the area highways, the busiest one we've had this morning is North 270. A lot of slow traffic still, Debbie, from about Big Bend, approaching Big Bend, all the way up to Ladue. Northbound 141, Clayton Road up to 64 is backed up. It's sort of heavy, actually, all the way up to about St. Luke's Hospital. Eastbound 64, McKnight through Hanley, slow. South 170, bogs on at Delmar. Westbound 64, Hampton to Hanley. That's pretty busy. Eastbound 70, straight into our city. There's a couple of spots where it's a little heavy. North 55 still has a slowdown north of 4500 Broadway up to Potomac. And westbound 5570 Exchange onto 64 still bogged down across the Poplar. Next update at 8:10 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
70 degrees, cloudy and humid in downtown St. Louis. I'm Tom Ackerman, and these are the stories Megan Lynch is working on for next hour. Missouri voters will decide in August whether to let lawmakers enact new sales taxes. We'll hear from opponents after the news.
Did you know we grow rice in Missouri? Missouri is the fourth largest state in rice acreage. Learn more from a rice farmer in the next hour.
Legislation heading to the governor's desk would require businesses to accept cash payments. Maria Kina has more.
This is AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg. Today will be warm and humid with clouds, some sun, and a shower, maybe even a spotty thunderstorm. Much of the day will be dry with a high of 84.
We have a day game today. Cardinal baseball comes your way at 12:40.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
ABC News, I'm Sherry Preston. The Texas Senate race is set, and it will not include the incumbent, Senator John Cornyn, beaten in the GOP primary by Attorney General Ken Paxton. After Paxton picked up the endorsement of President Trump, on the other side, Democrat James Tallarico. Search teams looking for 9 people unaccounted for after the rupture of a tank holding toxic chemicals at a paper plant in Washington state. ABC's Lindsay Tuckman.
The one person confirmed dead was identified by his family as Gilbert Bernal, a grandfather whose son also worked at the mill. Efforts to find other victims have been called off because the chemicals remaining in the tank make it too volatile. The cause of the rupture? Unclear, but the Associated Press reports the company, Nippon Dynawave, has been fined recently for health and safety violations.
President Trump gathers his cabinet today as talks continue toward a possible deal with Iran. This is ABC News. In New Jersey, tensions remain high outside Delaney Hall, a federal immigration facility in Newark, where Senator Andy Kim was pepper sprayed by ICE agents on Tuesday. ABC's Phil Tate is there this morning.
About a dozen federal agents just outside of the detention center. There's a fleet of vehicles and a few protesters who are in the street. Just moments ago, a vehicle tried to make their way inside. Some folks even sitting on the sidewalk. They were trying to block that vehicle from getting inside. But this all follows what happened here just last night. Protesters clashed with federal immigration officers yet again, ending with 3 arrests.
Protesters say the conditions inside that facility, which is privately run, are abhorrent, including the distribution of rotten food to detainees. New York Knicks fans won't be getting into the Garden cheap to see their team play in its first NBA Finals this century. So far, the least expensive tickets we could find online came in at around $2,000. I'm Sherry Preston, ABC News.
At 8:02, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. Today is Wednesday, May 27th. I'm Megan Lynch. A St. Louis City Aldermanic Committee hears public comment on the latest plan to utilize the $250 million Rams settlement money, and how much leeway is there for changes.
The North Side at minimum should get $150 million. And
the bill commits $110 million to North St. Louis City, the largest of any pot money is allocated to. Still, activists are calling for the city to allocate an additional $40 million to North St. Louis. Mayor Kara Spencer was asked if she would veto a bill that pulled the Rams money from other sources to hit that mark.
I'm not ready to talk about changes that we would or would not sign off on, but we are absolutely keen to hear what the aldermen are going to be discussing in the weeks ahead.
Sean Malone, KMOX News.
St. Louis Police will launch the aerial response unit soon. Chief Robert Tracy released a video saying they're making a major investment in public safety.
And one of the most significant technological advancements in the department's history.
Thanks to our friends at the St. Louis Police Foundation, we have plans to launch the aerial response unit utilizing 6 Brink drones strategically placed throughout the city that will enhance public safety and support a broader regional collaboration.
Now, the aerial response unit still needs approval of the police board. Tracy says this proposal is a part of a growing regional effort among public safety agencies to utilize drone technology to improve emergency response, strengthen coordination, and enhance preparedness across the St. Louis region. Maria Aquina, KMOX News.
The FBI touting a surge of federal agents in St. Louis ahead of summer. Operation Viper was a 2-week surge at the end of April, targeting fugitives wanted for violent crime and drug charges. The result, 91 arrests, over a kilo of meth and a kilo of fentanyl seized, 36 weapons recovered. Former Missouri Attorney General and Deputy FBI Director Andrew Bailey says they wanted to get ahead of the usual spike of crime during the summer months.
But what we see is oftentimes crime will spike during the summer months. And so by getting the very worst of the worst offenders off the street in the spring, we hope to maintain the forward progress that we've enjoyed in the fight against violent crime.
Missouri U.S. Senator Eric Schmidt says it shows the FBI is committed to St. Louis in the long term. Police cracking down on street takeovers in the city. Detectives broke up one near 9th and Branch Sunday, arresting 2 people. A 20-year-old woman from Forestel was charged with stunt driving and child endangerment after she was caught doing stunts in a white Lexus with her 3-year-old child in the back seat. A 32-year-old man from Columbia, Missouri, also arrested after police say he took part in the takeover and also tried to block detectives before running off. Both face stunt driving charges. A Granite City murder from 1993 has now been solved.
70-year-old Albert Buddy Ziegler was charged Tuesday in connection with the death of 34-year-old Randy Gail Sperino. She was last seen entering Ziegler's truck in Granite City on November 9th, 1993. The Madison County State's attorney said she was later bludgeoned to death and her body was left in a field. DNA found at the crime scene has been continually tested for 26 years until researchers from Texas linked it to the Midwest last May. Ziegler was arrested last week and charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. He is currently in custody at the Madison County Jail. Jade Aubrey, KMOX News.
Missouri small businesses are struggling a bit, according to recent studies by the National Federation of Independent Business.
The NFIB State Director, Brad Jones, says many Missouri small business owners have ongoing struggles finding qualified new employees.
They're frustrated with the labor and employment part.
He says there are increased business costs and the dilemma of passing those on to customers. Jones says their latest surveys in Missouri find businesses are delaying big purchases. He says some are also putting off expansion plans. Sue Danielson, Missouri Net.
The strike against Missouri's largest alcohol distributor is spreading.
Teamsters at Breakthrough Beverage are extending their picket lines beyond St. Louis to facilities in Kansas City and Champaign, Illinois. Workers at the new locations are honoring the picket lines and refusing to cross them. The company distributes brands like Jameson, Absolute, and Yuengling to bars and stores. Union leader Jeff Pedalero tells KMOX the dispute is over what he calls the company's illegal labor practices.
Breakthrough Beverage is learning the hard way that the Teamsters mean business and will continue to do what we need to do to protect our members.
A Breakthrough Beverage spokesperson tells KMOX that the company is engaged in ongoing good faith negotiations, including first contract discussions with our drivers. And they say Teamsters Local 688 ended negotiations with key issues unresolved, but they confirmed that negotiations will resume on June 3rd. Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
How much of the Rams settlement money will go to the city's water department? That question will be discussed at today's St. Louis Council meeting. Mayor Kara Spencer previously proposed $30 million from the settlement to go to the water department. A public hearing today expected to take up the question of whether that amount is enough. This comes after a water rate increase was introduced to aldermen last week. Today's meeting will be held this afternoon at 3:30 at City Hall. From the KMOX business desk, 2 downtown office buildings will be auctioned off in the next few weeks. The 30-story Bank of America Plaza on Market Street goes to the auction block June 22nd. The opening starting bid is $2 million. That's a far cry from the almost $48 million it sold for in 2010. Another property in receivership going up for auction the same day. The former Anthem Blue Cross Blue Shield of Missouri headquarters on Chestnut near Union will be auctioned June 22nd. There are 8 major downtown properties that have entered receivership in just the past 15 months. We'll get a check of traffic and weather coming up, and then we're going to talk about what Missourians will need to vote on coming up in August. A number of important constitutional amendments, including a plan to phase out the state income tax.
In a world in need of a hero, one man rises to the challenge in style. He is...
just driving the kids to soccer practice.
Make every day feel epic in the all-new Hyundai Palisade Hybrid with up to an EPA estimated 619 miles of range on select trims, advanced tech, and class-leading interior space. Visit HyundaiUSA.com or call 562-314-4603 for more details.
And hey, come on, no cleats on the seats.
Another app for inventory, one for CRM. Oh, don't forget accounting. Wait, which login was that?
Or you could use Odoo, one fully integrated system that does it all without the hassle. Ditch the app overload. Get everything your business needs on one platform. Try Odoo free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Men, if you're suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, you're not alone. Most importantly, you don't have to live with it. Paramount Men's Medical Center restores men's sex lives in just one visit. Their painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, even when Viagra and Cialis don't work. Here's Dr. Simovitz, specialist in men's health.
Paramount Men's Medical Center's painless breakthrough treatments eliminate ED and PE, regardless of age or medical history. 98% of patients see instant results right in the office.
Men are now lasting longer than they ever imagined. And the best part, at Paramount Men's Medical Center, your consultation and first treatment are free. Qualified patients even get their testosterone checked free. Call 314-720-8444. 314-720-8444. Take control of your sex life. Call now. 314-720-8444.
This hour of Total Information AM is sponsored by Gamma Tree Experts. Total Information AM, the news continues on 104.1 FM KMOX.
8:10, let's check the roads on this rainy morning. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, things are doing better, Megan. We still have slow traffic on North 270, but it's not as bad. Doherty Ferry up to Ladue now is the busiest part. Northbound 141 north of Clayton Road up to St. Luke's Hospital is kind of busy, but earlier it was jammed. So, again, that's an improvement. Eastbound 64, a brief delay through 170. Westbound 64, Clayton Skinker through Big Bend. The ramps, of course, to 170 are slow, but the through traffic after Big Bend looks like it clears out. North 55 is cleared out in the city. And downtown on the Illinois side, westbound 64 west of 3rd Street across the Poplar is the busiest part. Otherwise, these other interstates are looking good right now. Next update at 8:20 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Today will be warm and humid with clouds and some sunshine. There can be a passing shower, maybe even a spotty afternoon or evening thunderstorm. Much of the day will be rain-free, the high 84. Overnight, partly cloudy, though 65. Clouds and some sunshine and very warm tomorrow, high 87. For Friday, partly sunny, a chance of an afternoon thunderstorm, high 82. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now we have cloudy skies, a little bit of rain in some areas. 73 degrees in Florissant. It's 71 in St. Peters and cloudy 71 downtown at the Arch. This is Total Information AM on 104.1 FM KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch. This August, Missouri voters will vote yes or no on 4 constitutional amendments. Those include whether the legislature can expand sales taxes to replace the state's income tax, and a ballot question that would change the threshold for constitutional amendments spurred by citizens. Joining me on the Quiver River Electric Gas Line, Scott Chardon, a spokesman for the committees fighting those amendments. Scott, thanks so much for your time this morning.
Thank you, Megan. Thanks for having me.
So tell us first off, who do you represent? What are these committees and what's their interest in this?
Well, there are two campaign committees established by the Missouri Association of Realtors. The Missouri Realtors has 26,000 members in the state. They're the largest professional association in the state. And it's important to them that Missourians retain these rights because, look, these amendments 4 and 5 are just a huge power grab by politicians to take away rights and power that citizens have had for many years in Missouri. The realtors have actually used the citizen initiative process to propose ballot measures in 2010 and 2016 that were taxpayer protections. One of them was barring any transfer tax on real estate, like a first-time home purchase. And in 2016, the realtors sponsored a successful amendment that people approved that said no sales tax on services that you use every day, haircuts, car repairs, and the like. So that's the interest, and we are now campaigning actively the next 69 days until the August 4th election to stop Amendments 4 and 5, which would take away power from the people.
How concerned are you that these issues are coming up in August when fewer voters traditionally go to the polls instead of these being placed on the November ballot with some of the other issues?
Well, it is an attempt to try to sneak something past the people. These are power grabs that politicians have proposed. They would take away power citizens have had, and politicians don't like decisions that people have made. So yes, it's an attempt to get it passed in a low turnout election. That's why we're spending this time right now letting folks know that Amendments 4 and 5 are bad. They need to vote no. And it's a big power grab by politicians in both cases.
Well, and just to provide some balance, the governor is saying that this would allow lawmakers time to implement some of these things if they pass.
Well, it would suspend key rights and powers that Missourians have. And I don't know how much time they need to raise taxes that much, but whatever it is, we shouldn't give lawmakers just an open checkbook, and we would be changing the rules. Right now, you get a vote on big tax increases, and Amendment 5 would take away that vote. It would give the legislature an open checkbook, an open expressway to the biggest tax increase in Missouri history, and it would hit people who are least able to pay through higher sales taxes.
Scott, let's look at each of these while we have time. Amendment 5, if passed, would let the General Assembly create new sales taxes, as we've talked about. That would be tied to cuts in income taxes. Are the committees supported by the realtors opposed to every type of income tax reform or just this specific amendment?
Well, the Missouri Realtors have been on record and have shown support for meaningful tax reform, but this is something different in Amendment 5. This is a tax swap. It would not be a tax cut for the average Missourian. In fact, many senior citizens don't pay income tax on their retirement fixed income. But they would pay a higher sales tax on everyday items, and it would allow services to be taxed for the first time. And that hits people who are least able to pay.
What do you say to the argument that this will actually relieve a burden on Missourians and spur some spending and make Missouri more attractive to businesses and residents to come into the state?
Well, it would give us one of the highest sales taxes combined in the United States.
Well, we don't know that yet, do we? Do we know that yet?
Well, we know that if we're going to reduce the income tax by the levels the governor wants, the only other sources of revenue to make that up are sales taxes. And a higher sales tax will make us not competitive with other states. It will put us at a disadvantage.
Let's look at Amendment 4 now in the time that we have remaining. This is the one that, if passed, it would create a higher bar for citizen-led constitutional amendments to clear. Instead of needing a simple majority, they would require a win in every congressional district. What's the opposition to this from this committee?
Well, you remember in school, you learned about majority rule. One person, one vote. That is the principle, the majority rules. And that's the case now in Missouri. When a citizen-led amendment is put on the ballot, it's passed by majority rule. Amendment 4 requires a citizen-led amendment to get a majority vote statewide and pass in all 8 congressional districts. If even one congressional district votes no, it vetoes it for the entire state. One vote vetoes 7. That is a remarkably absurd high standard. No other state does that. And it really means citizen-led initiatives won't be able to pass, but the legislature would still be able to put its amendments on the ballot, and they would only need a simple majority to pass. That is a hypocritical double standard. It makes it a lot harder for the people that the politicians are supposed to work for.
Scott, what would you say about the criticism, though, that some of these citizen-led petitions have actually been backed by outside money? For example, the close vote to legalize marijuana. There was, a lot of claims that really the power was coming from outside the state with the money that was being poured into that campaign.
The power is the vote, an individual's vote. With the principle of one person, one vote, your vote has the same power as a CEO, as a billionaire, as a celebrity. Your vote gives you power. Everybody gets a vote. Some of those will pass, some will not pass, but everyone should have a chance to vote on it, and their vote ought to count equally. That's the point here on Amendment 4. Your vote would be weighted differently based on your zip code. That's not fair.
Now, the wording of Amendment 4 has been through some revisions by a court. Do you feel that the language is clear for voters?
The Missouri Realtors did go to court, and they sued, and they got some of that ballot candy knocked out that's supposed to convince people to vote for something. But the fact is, some of those bad provisions are still in there. For example, Amendment 4, current law, the penalty for petition fraud is $10,000. Amendment 4 actually lowers that to $1,000. So there is still bad, real change in Amendment 4 that would take away your power.
Now, one thing that I do need to go back and note on Amendment 5, there is a hearing set at the end of this week. There's a lawsuit challenging that. Is your group involved in that in any way?
We do support the lawsuit. The basic argument is it ought not be on the ballot. The Missouri Constitution says amendments have to be on a single subject, and they've crowded so much junk into Amendment 5, it violates the Constitution, and it shouldn't even be before the people.
Scott, thank you so much. Really appreciate your time on this and going into so much detail for our listeners.
Thank you, Megan. We're just encouraging over the next 69 days, vote no on Amendments 4 and 5. They're bad. They're a politician's power grab.
All right. That is Scott Charton. He is spokesman for the committees fighting those amendments, which are Missourians for Fair Governance and Missourians for Fair Taxation. And that is funded through the Missouri Realtors campaign. Coming up next on Total Information AM, did you know that we grow rice in Missouri? We're actually the 4th largest state in acreage. Go figure. I spoke with a rice farmer from the Boot Heel, and we will have that next. Let's get a check of the roads first from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, Megan, the highways really don't look that bad right now. If you're coming in on eastbound 64, I do see a little bit of a slowdown between Clarkson and Timberlake. I don't see a problem there, though. When it's bogged down again from McKnight through Hanley, westbound 64, Clayton Skinker to Bellevue's a little off the pace. North 270 approaching Manchester up to Ladue is still slow. Northbound 141 looks a lot better. Clayton Road up through 64 now. And downtown westbound 64 just kind of slow west of 3rd Street headed for the Poplar Street Bridge. Next update at 8:30 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
And checking that forecast for today, it looks like we're going to have a mix of clouds and sun, warm and humid, and we could still see some showers in places, even a spotty thunderstorm possible. Expect a high of 84 degrees. A thunderstorm in spots this evening, otherwise partly cloudy with an overnight low of 65. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Attention. Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, Call 800-358-6868. That's 800-358-6868. Again, 800-358-6868.
Get everything you need for the entire job delivered. From lumber to drywall, flooring, and fixtures, get it all delivered from the Home Depot. With same day, next day, or any day delivery. Staying on track and on time is crucial to your job. That's why it's our job to get you what you need when you need it. We deliver the supplies. You deliver the results. Brought to you by the Home Depot.
Why'd I go to the doctor? Working on the farm, my heart kept skipping a beat. I didn't think much of it, but my daughters made me get checked out. Turns out I have atrial fibrillation, which increases the risk of stroke about 5 times.
Symptoms like irregular heartbeat, heart racing, chest pain, shortness of breath, fatigue, or lightheadedness can come and go. But if it's AFib, the risk of stroke remains. If you have symptoms, contact a doctor.
I'm so glad I did.
Visit notimetowait.com. Sponsored by Bristol Myers Squibb and Pfizer.
Hair Volume from New Nordic will make your hair look thick and healthy. Available as a tablet or delicious gummy. Hair Volume is available online at Amazon and newnordicusa.com or in the hair care aisle at your local CVS.
Welcome back to Total Information AM. I'm Megan Lynch, and I found out yesterday that Missouri is one of the largest rice-producing states in the nation.
You travel much out of the boot hill and all, and a lot of you I tell someone I'm a rice farmer, and they're really surprised that we grow rice here in Missouri.
Missouri is actually 4th in acreage behind Arkansas, California, and Louisiana. And that's 3rd-generation rice farmer Rance Daniels. He's chair of the Missouri Rice Council, vice chair of the USA Rice Farmers Board, and the rice growing industry in the state has rejoined a national trade association for better representation. I was curious about rice, so I spoke with Rance about Missouri rice growing.
99% of them, I would say, would be our family farms, and the rice production here in Missouri is going to be in the southeast, the Boot Hill region, and those counties, from like Cape Girardeau south.
I think most people have a picture of flood irrigation when we're talking about rice growing. How do most farmers plant and harvest rice in the state of Missouri?
Most of the rice will be planted with, your typical grain drill, the same kind of drill that plants wheat, or you can plant soybeans with it, but it'll be planted starting end of March through the 1st of April up to May. And then you give it, you have time for it to grow to the 4 or 5 leaf stage is when you'll start applying the permanent flood to the rice, which will be, the permanent flood will be 2 to 4 inches deep across the field. The majority of the rice acres have been precision graded to make the slope of the field consistent across it. Have a consistent fall. So the levees, if there is rice levees, they will be straight, and that lets you control your water at that 2 to 4 inch depth. Harvest will start the first part of September, around Labor Day.
Is the Boot Heel uniquely, the conditions, are they just prime for rice, compared to other parts of the state?
Yeah, it's prime for rice. I mean, most of the Boot Hill, a lot of the Boot Hill used to be swamp, before it was drained in the early 1900s. So, we have plentiful water. And then, of course, rice, your growing season, like I said, we plant the end of March and harvest. So you have to get so many growing degree days, and the further north you get, you just doesn't have the time, for the crop to mature out. But, the landscape, water availability is some of the main reasons the Boot Hill is uniquely situated for rice production.
What varieties of rice do we grow in Missouri?
We grow mainly long grain rice, and then a few the other acres, a small number of acres is grown for medium grain rice. Long grain rice is going to be, rice like you have at your Mexican restaurants, or, it's a longer, they classify it by the length of the grain. And then your medium grain is, think of Rice Krispie cereal or Rice Krispie treats is a medium grain.
So when it comes to, selling what we produce here in Missouri, is it mostly domestic, or are there international markets for Missouri rice?
There's international markets. About half the rice is used here domestically and consumed here domestically, in restaurants, grocery stores, and then half of our markets are international markets. The main ones for Missouri is going to be Mexico, Central America, Haiti, Canada. It's going to be these Western Hemisphere markets is where the majority of our rice is going to be going.
That is Rance Daniels, third-generation rice farmer from Missouri's Boot Heel. And by the way, his favorite rice dishes include red beans and rice and chicken and rice. Coming up next on Total Information AM, Maria Keena is going to tell us about legislation in Illinois that would require businesses to accept cash transactions. It's 8:28. This time check sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating, Air Conditioning, Electrical, and Plumbing.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Tom Ackerman here. So many reasons why you should go with Chesterfield Fence and Deck for your next outdoor project. Patios, pergolas, sunrooms, screen rooms, fences, decks. They invite everyone to visit their showroom located in Chesterfield. Beautiful displays, free in-home estimates at no obligation, free project design. Products which are the best in the business include fences, decks, custom sunrooms. Chesterfield Fence and Deck also features their own line of aluminum fencing. All of their products guaranteed by a 5-year labor warranty, best warranties in the industry. But I would say the fact that they've been in business since 1968, that's how you know. Locally owned and operated for 58 years under the same ownership. That's Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Mention me, Tom Ackerman. You'll receive 48 months interest-free financing on your next outdoor project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
Hi, this is Congresswoman Ann Wagner from Missouri's 2nd District. I work every day to put more money in your pocket, secure the border, protect our shared Missouri values, and keep our communities safe. Whether it's visiting one of my public events in neighborhoods around the district or by contacting my office, I want to hear from you. If you need help with a federal agency, please contact me at wagner.house.gov.
Paid for by official funds authorized by the House of Representatives.
Right now, inflation is squeezing budgets, and global events can shake up the markets overnight. If you're close to retirement, you don't get unlimited do-overs, so this is not the time to just hope it works out. That's why Steve Auld and the team at the All Financial Group are hosting an upcoming educational seminar called Retirement Simplified, June 16th at the All Financial Group office. You'll learn how rising costs could drain your spending power, how political and economic headlines may impact your returns, and whether your retirement strategy is truly stress-tested for today's economy. This event is complimentary, and you must reserve your seat today. 636-230-8824. You can also get more details online at yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IPW, or registered investment advisor. Neither the firm nor its agents or representatives may give tax or legal advice. Individuals should consult with a qualified professional for guidance before making any purchasing decisions. The All Financial Group is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the U.S. government or any other government agency.
I still see some slowdowns out there on the roads. Let's get the latest from Roger Brand. He's in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Well, a report of a vehicle at least smoking, Megan, eastbound 70 around Lake St. Louis Boulevard. It's on the shoulder. I'm not seeing any delays, thankfully, through there. Northbound 270 is still slow approaching Manchester up to Ladue. Eastbound 64 a little busy, McKnight to 170. Westbound 64, the right lanes approaching Hantley are slow. South 170 between Delmar and Ladue also looks a little busy. Otherwise, the rest of these interstates are looking great for you right now. Next update at 8:40 from the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, it looks like we could see a few showers in places today, possibly even a spotty thunderstorm, and that will continue into this evening. For today, a mix of clouds and sun, warm and humid, a high 84, an overnight low of 65. And then tomorrow, clouds with some sun and warm, a high 87. Right now, cloudy skies, 71 downtown at the Arch. There are many businesses in Illinois that no longer accept cash payments. State Senator Christopher Belt pushed through legislation that would require businesses to allow cash transactions up to $500. He spoke with KMOX's Maria Kina.
Senator, we're getting to a point where we're using so much technology. If something happens and if everything should get shut down, you're still going to need that cash.
At the end of the day, you're still going to need the cash, right? I mean, if we see it in inclement weather. We see it time and time again. If something goes wrong with the technology, you revert back to the way it was prior to the technology. And so to your point, yes, cash still is valuable. Cash, there's a place for cash in this society. I understand that that's where we're trending. Again, you go to any concert venue, you go to, in my instance, you go to Busch Stadium. I'm 15 minutes away from the Cardinal Stadium when I'm in district. There is no cash allowed in those venues. Everything has to take place cashless, and so we just really felt that when you go shopping, because you're shopping for things that you need, you should not be turned away because you don't have a debit card or because you don't have a credit card or anything of the like. You should be able to use cash to get those items that you need. It could be medicines, it could be food, it could be whatever it may be. You need it, and so we want to make sure that you're able to get it with cash in Illinois.
The measure passed the House and Senate. It's on its way to the governor's desk. It's 8:34. Your money report coming up.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision. It should not be based on advertising.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
Pros, save more on the materials you need to get the job done inside and out at Lowe's. Right now, get 10% off in-stock Trex Naturals decking, now available in more styles. Plus, get 15% off select custom entry, interior, and storm doors. Then, we'll deliver it all straight to your job site to help keep your jobs moving. Get the brands pros trust, priced right, and ready when you need them. Our best lineup is here at Lowe's. Valid through 5/27. While supplies last. Selection varies by location.
Your Money Report now, sponsored by Eamon Gattner and Capriano Elder Law Attorneys. Here's Bloomberg's Courtney Donahoe.
Americans have to have a six-figure income in order to afford a regular home. According to Redfin, folks need to make close to $117,000 to swing a typical house for sale right now. While the common rule of thumb is that you shouldn't spend more than 30% of your income on your monthly housing payment, the typical home buyer needs to shell out 40% of their pay to buy a house. Turning to trading, investors are diving into chip stocks this morning, giving a lift to the overall markets. S&P futures are on the rise, heading for another record high this session. And Target is planning to evaluate store workers on how they greet, help, and engage with shoppers. Sources tell us the retailer is piloting how to assess the quality of customer service from its staff. Target says elevating the store experience is one of the company's top strategic priorities. The company is looking to reverse a sales slump that has gone on for years. It's also looking to improve wait time and inventory levels. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
It's Tom Ackerman. Tomorrow is the experience at the Budweiser Beer Garden, the Redbird Roundtable with Ozzie Smith, Al Raboski, Matt Adams, and me. It is a free event. Last check, they were near capacity for this, so you'll need to check for yourself at BudweiserTours.com and see if you can sneak in there. I think it's a capacity of 500, and we were into the 400s as of yesterday. We'll check on it again this morning. You can do the same by going to BudweiserTours.com. What it is, a free event. You walk in, you're registered, you can hang out, have a cold, frosty beverage, and listen to Ozzy and Al and Matt, also known as the Wizard, the Mad Hungarian in Big City. Join me for a baseball discussion before the Cardinals take on the Cubs on Friday. It's going to be a good time. Thursday, tomorrow, 4:30 to 6:30 at the Budweiser Brewery Experience, the Beer Garden. Check out BudweiserTours.com.
Lombardo Homes is known for quality, luxury, and thoughtful design in some of the area's most desirable communities. This season, we're continuing a limited spring opportunity, offering select enhancements designed to elevate your home and your experience. From a finished basement recreation room to premium kitchen and cabinet upgrades, or flexible options like design credits or closing cost savings. These offers are available in select communities for a limited time. Visit LombardoHomes.com or stop by a sales office today.
Hello, 4th of July. Back-to-back Jack. Kerry Robinson, a hero tonight.
The Cubs visit St. Louis May 29th through the 31st for a weekend of baseball's best rivalry at Busch Stadium. The history is real. The fans are loud, and the energy in the ballpark is unmatched. Day or night, every pitch matters when these two meet. So get ready, Cardinals fans. This is what summer baseball in St. Louis is all about. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/tickets.
The weekend starts at Busch Stadium. Grab your crew and kick it off at Friday Night Live. Every Friday night home game, Budweiser Terrace turns into the hottest happy hour in the Lou. With $5 beers, $5 hot dogs, $7 margaritas, live music, and more all game long. Meet up with friends, soak in the energy, and keep the night going with baseball under the lights. Good vibes, great deals, your new Friday tradition. Get tickets now at cardinals.com.
Bring your home back to life with Zero Res, a fresher clean that you can actually feel. Get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at just $139 and whole home air duct cleaning starting at just $599. Visit ZeroResSTL.com and tell them about the DGS KMOX deal.
This is 104.1 FM KMOX. Here's what's happening. Teamsters at Breakthrough Beverage extending their picket lines beyond St. Louis to facilities in Kansas City and Champaign, Illinois. The company distributes brands like Absolute and Yingling to bars and stores. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says the companies behind big data center projects should carry the entire cost, not everyday electric customers. And online payment company PayPal struggling under competition. Its stock has plummeted nearly 40% in the past 12 months and about 80% over the last 5 years. Let's see if there are any problems on the roads you have to get around. Roger Brand is in the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Yeah, it's not bad right now, Megan. North 270 continues to improve. Still slow from Manchester all the way up to Ladue. Eastbound 64, there's more volume now here. About midway in from Lindbergh to 170, it's bogged down through there. Westbound 64 on the Hanley exit, they were clearing a stall. The exit just looked a little slow to me. Northbound Telegraph, Christopher up through Herb, you've got the usual delay. And eastbound 70, they're doing road work past 5th Street. I believe it's the right lane, so traffic's kind of heavy there, headed across the Blanchette Bridge. I'm Roger Brand at the Overhead Door Company of St. Louis Traffic Center.
Thank you, Roger. And checking that forecast for today, it's going to be cloudy with some sun, warm and humid. We could see a shower, even a spotty thunderstorm, a high of 84. Right now, we have cloudy skies, 71 degrees downtown at the Arch. Thanks for listening to Total Information AM here on KMOX. I'm Megan Lynch, and there are new developments in a massive settlement proposal surrounding Roundup weed killer. Other things in the headlines, an interesting ruling about congressional redistricting out of Alabama, and new demands in the White House ballroom case. Every Wednesday morning, we get insight on stories like this from KMOX legal analyst Brad Young. He's partner at Harris, Young, and Kaiser. Good morning, Brad.
Good morning, Megan.
Let's start first with that Alabama case. We've been talking about congressional redistricting, it seems like, for months now. And the latest is that a panel of 3 federal judges have blocked an Alabama map that would eliminate one of the state's 2 districts with major Black populations. I have to ask, and I know I've gone back to this a couple of times with you, but how is this different than Missouri's congressional map that shifted boundaries in the Kansas City area? Some people said that was also a minority district. What are the different legal arguments here?
Well, first of all, I have to put it in context, Megan, because the Supreme Court 2 or 3 weeks ago issued a decision in the Calais versus Louisiana case, which essentially said that simply having a minority block voting district in of itself violates the 14th Amendment because it discriminates. It is taking action based upon race, which is illegal under the 14th Amendment, unless there is specific evidence of discriminatory intent, which then triggers the Voting Rights Act. It's kind of complicated, but now let's fast forward. What Alabama said is that given the history of Alabama, the 3-judge panel state court in Alabama found that there was a history in Alabama of discrimination, of trying to block Black voters from having access to the ballot box and having the right to vote. So because of that historical evidence of discrimination in Alabama, then the court said, in line with the recent Supreme Court decision, because of the history of discrimination, then that new voting map is invalid, and it reverted back to the prior map. Now, I know it's detailed, but now fast forward now even to Missouri. Missouri has the exact same legal redistricting situation in Kansas City right now. The question is going to be, will challengers be able to find the same evidence of historical discrimination in Missouri that was found in Alabama in order to try to invalidate the new redistricting map?
Before I head into the next topic, I think, for listeners out there, what do you feel like we need to know about the rules for congressional districts going forward? Because I'm guessing this issue is not going to go away.
No, this issue is never going to go away, Megan. And here's the bottom line. The courts have said over more than 150 years that redistricting based upon politics is okay. If you want to create districts to exclude Republicans from a district or exclude Democrats from a district, that's okay. The courts are not going to get into that political fight because from the court's perspective, the public has the right to vote people out that make up crazy districts. Now, if that swerves into racial discrimination and history of racial discrimination, then the Voting Rights Act kicks in, as we've seen happen just this week. And that's when courts are going to say, you cannot do that, legislature, because that's based upon racial discrimination.
Let's move to Roundup Weed Killer. Bayer's proposed $7.25 billion settlement is facing some objections. Attorneys for a number of cancer patients have asked a Missouri state court to not approve the deal, and they believe that this settlement dispute should go to federal court. What are the arguments for moving it?
Well, the arguments, and as you point out, this is going on right here in Missouri. Bayer is located here when they bought Monsanto, and this is an issue that impacts Missouri. Now, here's the legal issue here. Part of this settlement also applies to people who have not yet contracted non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from allegedly from using Roundup. So the question is this violate constitutional due process protections for people not yet injured if someone, say, 5 years from now develops non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but they're bound by the settlement that would be approved in 2026? That's the core legal issue. And the plaintiffs here want this to be in federal court because from the plaintiff's perspective, federal court is a better venue for them to get the desired outcome. So we've got venue questions, we've got constitutional due process questions, and it all revolves right here around Missouri.
But is it a state or a federal issue? Which one?
Well, right, it is clearly a state issue. The lawsuits were filed under a state issue, but the defense that Roundup used was a federal issue. So federal questions, because the labeling that's on Roundup is governed by federal law, not state law, but the plaintiffs pursued this under state law. So it's a state law interpretation of federal rules regarding labeling. And that's where the core issues lie.
Let's turn to Washington, D.C. The U.S. Justice Department has again asked a federal judge to lift an injunction holding up progress on President Donald Trump's ballroom project, saying that Saturday's shooting outside the White House proves an urgent need for better security. My question from a legal standpoint, in the eyes of a court, what does security have to do with congressional approval of a ballroom?
it really doesn't have anything to do with it. It's the hook that the Justice Department is trying to do here is to make it a security issue, which would then give deference to the executive branch. But a security issue cannot change the issues that are here. A lot of legal issues here regarding statutory authority, whether Congress has the authority to restrict or to fund this type of project. Security doesn't have anything to do with that, but it does if the DOJ can persuade the court to take security into consideration. That gives more leverage to the president in terms of moving forward with this ballroom project.
And I guess the status of it, if I remember correctly, there was an injunction that halted anything above the ground, but then that was put on hold by an appeals court. So construction is actually still ongoing, correct?
It is. And you mentioned that bifurcation between above ground and below ground. Reports are that below ground is going to be a new presidential emergency operations center. So that's being allowed to move forward because that is a security issue governed by the White House, and it's below ground. But right now, the ballroom project is moving forward, but there's been no definitive ruling yet on whether the president has the authority to do this or not.
All right, Brad, thank you so much for your time this morning.
My pleasure.
And we'll talk to Brad next week. KMOX legal analyst Brad Young, partner at Harris Young and Kaiser. Coming up next on Total Information AM, is Iran stepping up cyber attacks? Are we close to a cyber war? I'm going to talk with Jonathan Talk. He's with Single Wave Technologies, our cybersecurity expert here on KMOX.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Don't miss the final home game of the season. Your St. Louis Battlehawks take on the Dallas Renegades Friday, May 29th at 7 p.m. at the Dome. It's Battlehawks Kids Day. Plus, fans can score an Archie bobblehead while supplies last. Tickets start at just $18 at UFLBattlehawks.com. Caw-caw.
Feel the rhythm and turn it up, St. Louis. Legendary rock icons Santana and the Doobie Brothers are bringing the heat to Hollywood Casino Amphitheater June 20th for the Oneness Tour 2026. From Black Magic Woman to Listen to the Music, this is the concert event fans don't want to miss. It'll be a summer night soon not forgotten. Santana, the Doobie Brothers. Tickets available at Ticketmaster.com. For more info, go to KMOX.com/events.
Broadcasting from the Scott Credit Union Studio, 104.1 FM, KMOX.
This is Megan Lynch. Thanks for joining me this morning for Total Information AM here on KMOX. Researchers have now concluded that the computer breach that partially shut down the LA transit system this spring was the work of Iranian hackers. Could we be facing more threats or even a large-scale cyber warfare as the conflict drags on in the Middle East? Joining me now on the Quiver River Electric Guest Line, cybersecurity expert Jonathan Talk with Single Wave Technologies in St. Charles, Missouri. Jonathan, thanks for your time this morning.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
What do we know about this latest threat?
Yeah, I mean, Iranian hackers are definitely something we should be concerned about, and we know that they follow a very similar pattern to what we've seen in the past, and focusing on municipalities, train stations, anything that they can use to cause mayhem and havoc. Absolutely.
Have you seen potential attacks escalate from Iran, attempts to breach systems?
We have. I think it's always difficult as a cybersecurity researcher because anytime you have a conflict, you see both attacks directly from the countries in conflict, like Iran, and at the same time, you see other countries that use the conflict as a cover-up, almost as a proxy to run their attacks through. And we see that, constantly happen, and we see the same here now. Not only Iran attacks, but other countries using that as a way to attack the United States, making it look like it was them as well.
As someone who helps businesses and organizations with their cybersecurity, do you feel like you're getting the information you need from the federal government about threat assessments right now?
We get a lot of information. It does always seem slower than we would want it. There's always more detail and more information that we would want, and it's a lot of the same, beating the same drums, a lot of the same hardening things that they've been saying for a long time. But we could always use more information.
You mentioned where these attacks might be coming from, whether it's state actors or others. Talk about the sophistication of these organizations that launch these attacks.
Yeah, absolutely. Incredibly sophisticated. So government-backed programs and are as sophisticated as the militaries that they form. And so continuing to get better and better. The other thing that we don't think about is even during a ceasefire, that doesn't typically stop cyber attacks. And so you'll see, even as conflict can be quiet on the public space, it can be very busy in the digital and the cyberspace. And we see that come up. But they're very sophisticated groups, especially the groups that are using them as a proxy to attack us. I mean, many times through research, we find that those are other nation state actors that are using groups like Iran as a proxy to attack local businesses and local municipalities.
You've mentioned a number of potential targets, kind of rank them for us as far as who you think's at greatest risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the softest targets are the greatest risk. So I would say that those, even though they're always attacking the large groups, typically they're much stronger in their defenses. Really where the risk lies is subcontractors to the defense space, is municipalities, wastewater, groups that don't have the same cyber maturity and haven't taken the right steps to become more secure. But any internet-facing company, any company that has a VPN is a potential risk, because these groups are going after not just targeted attacks, but low-hanging fruit in the United States just to cause disruption and hopefully to cause mayhem.
Should we be concerned about whether these civilian systems in the United States are prepared for a broader cyber war with Iran or other countries in the Middle East?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We absolutely should be. And I would say even the government shows us that there is concern there, because they continue to put out more and more information about how to better secure, how to improve security, how to grow cybersecurity budget. So I absolutely think it's something that should borrow some concern, and we should be thinking about on our data and the data that they hold of regular people that could potentially be taken, as well as just the problems through ransomware and other means to affect these systems.
Any other takeaways for our listeners, Jonathan, as they hear this today?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing, especially for business owners and for people that are just day to day, they should realize that their data is everywhere, and they need to make sure that they take the proper precautions to secure that, but also they need to make sure that they are taking the steps needed to secure their clients' information as well. So just making sure that they're aware that these threats are raising, and over summer, they always raise regardless, and so even more so this summer. So making sure that the right things are in place to keep their information secure with everything that's out there.
That's Jonathan Talk with Single Wave Technologies joining us this morning on KMOX. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Be sure to join me tomorrow on Total Information AM in the 8 o'clock hour. I'm going to tell you about a new group that hopes to spur business collaboration in Clayton and the surrounding area. Plus, colleges are now offering 3-year degrees. We're going to learn more about it tomorrow here on Total Information AM.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Health Trends, sponsored by Red Pocket Mobile.
Reassurance for expectant mothers, an international study of over 25 million pregnancies published in the Lancet Psychiatry.